Troy's right over here. Troy is in the building, or Tony, or whoever might be here. I saw a pre-start comment here. Mr. Spain has arrived early. He's not off gallivanting around Spain, as one would expect. So this directed directly to the spreadsheet guy from Spain. I will be ordering the 2-2 ruptures off of A-Main imminently, probably coming up in the next week. I will order those, and then we'll figure out what it costs to send them to Spain, because I think Mr. Spain said €90, something like that, for a set of 2-2 ruptures, which is mind-boggling. We can definitely beat that. Hey everybody, how are you doing? It is brutally hot here. It is the heart of summer, and luckily, very luckily, the swamp cooler chose to take a poop on me yesterday. So I spent like 2 hours yesterday getting the cooler running, and it has low speed now, so it runs on low. But he says he needs to know the price first. It's like, I want to say it's like $55 US for the tires, and then it will just be whatever it costs to ship it. Our prices are definitely lower on the tires. I want to say they're $27.50 or $28 a pair. So it's like 55 or 56, and then whatever it costs to ship it. So as long as you're covering most of it, we're good. We'll be good. We have to proceed forward with the process of getting more J Concepts tires into Europe. Also, I have a lot of questions today. Be ready to pick up some rigs. Yeah, I can do it. Okay, I already have to do it. I'm going to have to open my phone. Is 30C a lot? Should I set my indoor thermometer to Fahrenheit so I can tell people what the temperature it is in here? Yeah, why would they try to give me a formula? 27 on A-Main, yeah, something like that. So he says it's 30. (0°C equals 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, what is 30 degrees Celsius? It's killing me. Oh, it's everything. It's just like do the thing, do the 32 minus 5. Just tell me what it is. Anyway, it's 83 degrees inside the building right now, which is pretty good. That's pretty good because it's really hot. J Concepts tires exist in Europe. I thought it was a myth. That's what I want to know. I can't spend more than 60 to 70, 87 Fahrenheit. That's warm. That's reasonably warm. He said, oh, in his house. Yeah, 87 degrees inside the house. That's not warm. That's hot. That's just full hot. Can't spend more than 60 to 70 euro. I don't know what a euro is. Like what's the conversion on that? I'm gonna guess probably $15 to $20 to ship them. Let's hope. Like maybe if you don't need foams, they'll be a lot easier to ship because a tire without a foam in it, like a rupture, is roughly the size. Like you can fit. Like it's really not that hard to get. We could get 4 of them into a tiny thing like that. If you need foams, it's going to be a bigger box. The shipping is going to be the most offensive part to me. Andre Russu has bought them from EuroRC.com website. He should check that. Any plans to revisit the FCX-10? The FCX-10 is gone. It lives in Georgia. Is that right? Alabama? Somewhere in the South. That one lives with a lovely young lady in the South. Yeah, Brandon says it's 95 in his garage, but he means Michigan 95. So it's probably like 100% humidity, if that's possible. Yeah, we're dropping frames like crazy. My wife is quite likely on some sort of video call at work, so we're getting to share the upload speed. I'm dropping about 3% of my frames, so you might see some stuttering here and there. At least for a little bit. So we will struggle through. Good evening, viewers. There are definitely J Concepts tires in Europe. There aren't enough. $80, €70 about. Yeah. So honestly, it's good that he mentioned a high-end money on that, because it's probably going to be about that. $80. If $80 is €70, 55 for the tires. No, I want high-end 25 on the shipping. Yeah, that'd be 80. That'd be $80. So it'll come down. What I can try to do is figure out. I should still have his address saved in my little shipper thing, and I will try to figure out roughly what it's going to cost to ship a set of 2.2 ruptures over there. Whee! I gotta move Susan out of the way, so I figured I'd spin it. Then I gotta let her stop. So. Boop. What material did you make Esky's sliders from? 16th inch aluminum L angle. You can get it at any metal supply, or you can get it at Home Depot, Lowe's, any of those places. You can get away with 1 inch. So 1 inch legs. If you can get 1 1/4, get 1 1/4, because the 16-inch thick is really thin. You can cut it really, really easily. With whatever you have, you can cut it with that. But yeah, I think I just used. Can I make 2 L shapes with my hands? I put 1 L like this and 1 L like that, and I stuck them on top of each other, and that's what I used to adhere his body to. I did have to cut him down quite a bit. It's going to be a lot more material than you need. Any plans for a long-term review of the shocks on baseline? They're still going, and I haven't had to put any oil in them. Let's see. He's very close to camera, so we can. So let's see what his damping is looking like. We're definitely not 100% full of oil on that, but I don't know though. Maybe they still feel really smooth. This was the original set. This is the AliExpress set. Oh no, there's definitely more oil in the rear shocks. They still feel pretty good, and as you all know, baseline puts in some hours, so any amount that's been pumped out, it's still. I mean. We get a bit of a drop. He's a little under-damped now, but considering that he does about 20 self-writing procedures a week, I feel like he's not as low on oil as I would have anticipated. Hello, everyone. Hello, Mr. Saxton. Which VRD are we assembling today? No, this is a visitor. This is a Zoku Phoenix, and I convinced the owner to remove this abomination, because I don't know how many times I have to say that Castle doesn't make anything for crawlers, because they really don't. Just look at this. Look at this contraption, and we're going to replace all of that contraption with that, as should be. Tell me on Instagram the shipping cost. Oh, okay, yeah. I'll figure it out. I've ordered some Fast Track Tracker, which look identical to Tusks. I really want to try those Fast Track Trackers, but much like Europe to U.S. to Europe, Europe to U.S. in reverse, it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous how expensive they are. My fake drafts still haven't leaked at all, cartridge style, but I've only had them on rigs for a few minutes at a time. Yeah, they're definitely holding up, because they have some time on them. Probably 30-ish hours, probably, and they're still doing all right. How about those new Proline Aztecs? It's really tough to get excited about Proline tires unless there's some particular tire that you want for some particular sort of reason, because G8 isn't as good as green, and Predator, much like S5 to XHX pins, is exceptionally temperature dependent. So like right now, a Predator tire is going to be outright awful. An S5 tire will be similarly outright awful. It's too hot. So the Aztec is also, it's like the same reason I can't get excited over any of the countless number of KLRs. Because the KLR, I find out somewhat recently, was basically designed as a sort of Trepidor. And in my prior experience, Trepidors are not overwhelmingly impressive. There's something about that pattern that doesn't translate to scale, as far as I'm concerned. So, I mean, I will probably, I don't want to say inevitably, but I will probably end up trying the Aztecs at some point. I just don't want people that are grand lovers of Aztecs to be like, his score wasn't high enough. Look at the leaderboard and look at where Proline falls. I anticipate the Aztec falling somewhere appropriately there in the middle. Like, it's going to be a 94, 95 tire. It might surprise me, but unless they've brewed up a secret compound that we didn't know about before, I'm not expecting alchemy from it. I try not to prejudge, but like I said, try. Oh, we've now dropped 650 frames. My usual question: body, wheels, and tires. For what? Fusion Pro, yes. You put a Fusion in everything. Downvote. Do it. This isn't even my vehicle or my Fusion, but you know, sign people up. You want to know how you can really tell it's not my vehicle? Spectrum 6100. Spectrum 6100. Needless to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. This vehicle does not drive right now. Brought to you courtesy of the Spectrum 6100 AT. Someone learned a lesson recently. They got spectrumed. Firmly spectrumed. I said I don't work on spectrums for a reason. What body is on that chassis? Res Crispy, interesting body mount going on there. So you can really soak it in. It is to get a Mount Tumbledore already claimed its victim. So so it's pretty good. Pretty good. It's not a bad fit. Axial. Bumper's a little loose. Yeah. They don't all have to be Phoenicians. We're talking about have you switched out the pits? I'm thinking about building a C1 crawler using a flat Gecko C1 V1 with a forward mount. Anybody had experience with one? I have not. Proline tires aren't good enough for the price. Agreed. He's asking that guy what pistons he runs. If we're talking about Proline, what about their new bodies? Yay, another FJ. I think it looks okay. And I think Proline, one of the smartest things they've done recently is that XJ. Because the only other Lexan XJ you can get is the old Axial one. 10.2 era Axial. And I have one. That's what the banana is. And let's say that the pull on that plastic is not consistent. Like, there's some really thin stuff on there. So if it comes out with, along the lines of what Proline did with the Bug and the Raptor, if it's the quality and thickness of that, I think people are going to be absolutely fine with it. But honestly, the FJ thing, much as I love an FJ40, FJ45, they're getting up there with power wagons now. Like, there's a lot of FJ options out there, including the $13 AliExpress option, which, Doesn't matter how thin it is. It's $13. I didn't click past the email, so I don't even know what Proline's going to be selling them for. So if they're like $50, fine. We've learned to accept that. If they're anything more than that, it's just Proline doing Proline things as far as I'm concerned. It's like a $65 Lexan body. It's inexcusable is what it is. How are the toes feeling? It's mostly just two, and it's that one and that one on the left foot, and they're mad. Somebody said the rear tire wants to go. It does. If you hit it with the compressor, you can get it really ballooned out. But I mean, and if you're going to run a spare tire like this because you like the look of it, this is the way to do it. Because then it's not going to hang up on something and like break your vehicle. It's just going to flongle around. I can't bring myself to embrace scale enough to run things like extra tires because that's weight. I'm going to take off weight whenever possible. Bill Truitt, don't be sorry that Spectrum sucks. It's not your fault. We're all. You wait a minute. You mean you're not in there? We're not all running out to buy IXSRs. I don't think anybody is running out to buy an IXSR. Now, yes, you do have to remove. You definitely have to take the whole gearbox out if you want to change the motor in a VRD. That's in a VFD, twin or non. But we have to do it anyway because he also has. You know, I just keep the hands busy. I answer questions and I keep the hands busy. I'm sorry. Hold up. Wait a minute. Rice Krispie, is that legit? Is that legit? That's legit. Proline FJ40. To quote that, what was it, an insurance video where they got this close to cursing, but they didn't do it. And she yells, shut the front door. And then she says something about, she calls the other woman a lint licker. And I still laugh about lint licker. But shut the front door. To anyone unaware, if Proline's website will open on my phone, which it won't. I'm just tapping buttons here. Yeah, Rice Krispie is 100% correct. The FJ40 from Proline Racing on pre-order. It's gonna white out. We gotta go down here. We gotta go down here. Are you? What are? Oh, there's a picture. Now it's moved up. I don't even care. Get out. Get out. $80. I got an email from Spectrum for a summer sale on an air radio. $300 off brings it down to $1,000. Okay, all right. I feel like we've arrived at a place and time in history where things be expensive. Who's buying a $1,300 radio? Who's buying a $700 Surface radio from Spectrum? 900 frames dropped. We're enough of the power wagons already. 100%. Nice to see Lolo this Wheelin' Wednesday. You can never have too many wheels and tires. 100% true. 50 for the XJ is almost acceptable. Starting with my tech questions. Can you get a 4-link front with the Creeper T? Yes. 100. Absolutely. I wish I never got the rugged, but it was nice when I got back into RC 5 years ago. I only had a DX5C, and it was enough. It was enough. I own a Samsung dishwasher, and I hate it. I hate it to a level that would make me never buy another Samsung thing again. It is infuriating how bad that dishwasher is, and it was highly reviewed and highly rated, and it didn't even give me a week of trouble-free operation. It still works. It's still in the house. I still hate it. When you open it, it smells like somebody emptied a garbage disposal into an old athletic shoe. because it saves the old water from the final rinse to be the pre-rinse on the next load, so eco-conscious stuff. And just don't do that. Maybe don't do that. So the DX5C was my Spectrum experience, and my only other Spectrum experiences are SLT3s, DX3s, RTR radios, and they're all, yeah, I wish I could have advised you on that dishwasher. I wish anybody could have advised me on the dishwasher. Yet, I'm still not as mad about the dishwasher as I was about the fact that I bought a Wendigo. So, Red Cat can trump even a very stinky dishwasher. Anybody who buys a $700 Spectrum radio has more money than sense, 100%. That's $80. I'd rather use an egg box as a body. Yeah. Yeah, Driver 8, 100%. I'm not saying, never buy a $700 radio. I'm saying that if you're going to buy a $700 radio, the Futaba 10PX exists. You can buy that. And you could buy a KO Propo top end. You can buy a big Sanwa M17. There are $700 radios out there. The IXSR is not one of them. It costs $700, but it is not a $700 radio. Not by any estimation. Yeah, Seivart, I had to go on the internet and find a guy. I guess that door was open for a minute. Pyrethrin, LD44. Something died under the building. We have basically a crawl space under the building. Something died. So we've got green bottle and blue bottle. It's hard to say blue bottle, and I don't have an accent. We've got flies that keep trying to come into the building now because it's cooler in here. And I guess they're done. They just grow in the dead thing, and then they get out of the dead thing. So I smelled it today for the first time, whatever is dead under there. So the place is full of flies. It's just fun. It's fun. We've been without flies for a while. Mamba X and a Holmes Puller Pro V2. 3,500. 3,500. If I was buying a dishwasher today, it'd be an LG. I now own a growing number of LG appliances and electronics and have not had a single problem with any of them. Not even for a second. Our washer and dryer are LG. The biggest, we went down to the appliance place and we're like, what's the biggest dryer you have? And they were like, that one. And we bought the LGs and they've been flawless. And I didn't get okay. This is a Californian rant. Early for a rant, but here it comes anyway. We were not eligible for an Energy Star rebate because we bought a dryer that didn't classify as Energy Star because they have these efficiency ratings that go from 1 to 10 in tenths increments. Like you can have one with an efficiency rating of 9.4, or you can have one that's like 8.8. So the cutoff for Energy Star, let's say it's 9.4. I don't remember what the numbers are. They are inconsequential. Mine was a tenth of a point below that, a 9.3. I have a 9.2 cubic foot dryer. It is so enormous, you can wash all of your bedding all at once. All the sheets, the blankets, the comforter, everything, and put it all in the dryer at once. You can't do that in like a normal, quote unquote, normal dryer. You'd have to do 2 loads. So is not my dryer twice as efficient because I run it half as often? I can wash 12 towels at once and dry 12 towels at once. Our old GE washer and dryer were down to like you could wash maybe 5 or 6. But I couldn't get a rebate because I had 1/10 of a point lower. And it's all fake, man. It's all fake. Get your soapboxes out and tighten your tinfoil hats. Emissions laws are fake. Energy Star is fake. I'm still mad about the dishwasher. Not as mad as I am about the Wendigo, but I'm sure I'll get there. It will leak on me one more time, and my fury will become unbound. Oh, I haven't even been looking over here. I think my Zool clear body with all the hard plastic bits was 55. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. Element, J Concepts. Most everybody is not going to try to rob you on a body. Some of the stuff like Cross, MST, some of those bodies are very expensive. And I think those bodies are very expensive due to, I guess, what we could classify as unavoidable realities, in which they have to transport those bodies over great distances to get them to us. So, on some level, I kind of get it. But Proline, proudly made in the USA, I can't see a justification for an $80 FJ body. It can't be good enough. Plus, how many FJ40s are there now? That we haven't gotten to Power Wagon levels yet, but by gum, they're trying. What kind of tire is on that? I'm not sure. It's the stock tire from an HPI Venture. It does not match the tires, the full complement of tires. It's just there to be a spare. At least in my assumption. I don't think this thing has tires at the moment. This one is tireless. It lost its tires. Its tires went to the front line. Spectrum offers a 6-channel radio with a 4-channel receiver. That sounds right. Hey, Shaker MT is here. FlySky Noble Pro is half the price of the new Spectrum. Yeah, and a Radio Master MT12 is half the price of the Noble. I'm not discounting the Noble. I'm just saying that Spectrum is insane. That's basically what I'm going. $4,000 rebate for new windows. Dang. We replaced all of our windows double pane, argon filled the whole thing, and we didn't get nothing. Yeah, California doesn't care about anything anymore. Gone are the days of solar rebates, all that. They don't care anymore. They're still forcing all the new builds to have solar. They don't have it. They don't know what to do with all the power. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, they have a power surplus so high they're throwing away like 40% of the power because they don't have anywhere to store it. It's almost like, it seems logical, right? If you're going to add a power generation method that only works half the day, that you would think ahead and you'd be like, you know what maybe we should do? This is just an idea. I'm just spitballing here. Should we maybe introduce some sort of system that would store that energy so we can use it the other half of the day when it's not working? But California was like, nah, just put solar panels on everything, man. Everything. Just solar it all. So surplus at 2 p.m., and then the neighborhood I live in has been getting brownouts every evening at about 8 o'clock when the sun drops down low enough that it's not hitting the solar panels anymore. And I guess nobody was like, just spitballing again, nobody thought, hey, maybe we should turn the power plant up, like right about 8 p.m., so that we're not browning out. And it's the best brownout of all. It's the perfect brownout where the power dips just low enough that all of your electronics switch off, and then the power comes right back on. I mean, I guess it could be a full-on blackout. The people closer to closer to whatever are losing their 1,000 drop frames are losing their power for like 6 hours a night while Edison goofs around with whatever Edison goofs around with on a nightly basis. Two-in-one washer dryer. That's a European thing. You put it in your kitchen. RVs as well. Oh yeah, RVs. Yeah. Try to get service on a FlySky though. I like them, but the service sucks. Yeah, I've it's like with like all the radio links, the endless number of radio links that are here. I don't worry about it because they're really, really cheap. I don't even know if there's anything that I would try to get service on a radio link for. Gears loves his Wendigo, but he only paid $100 new in box. For that money, it's a fun model. I couldn't get it to even drive in a straight line. I could not even get it to drive in a straight line. It it embraced the notion of unsafe at any speed. It was terrible at quite literally everything that I tried to do, and I don't know if you're familiar with the channel. I am unwilling. I won't. You don't quit. You just keep going. If it's not working, we keep throwing parts at it until we can make it work. Club 5 Racing had replacement links and stuff. And it just made everything worse. Like, it made the bump steer worse. So Club 5 took a cue from Red Cat and took an opportunity to really not do any math. And their replacement parts actually made it worse. I put the motor in and then remembered that there's this right behind me. But I only got that far. So I tell everybody, if you're going to build a twin... Now, this was purchased used, yes? Yeah, this was purchased used. So he has an excuse for not having put the machine gears in the box. Now, the guy who had it before doesn't have an excuse for not putting the machine gears in the box.
He gave me the gears with it.
Yeah, he was like, oh, yeah, I have these for it as well. Oh, I'm missing. Oh, Shaker MT paid for a coffee. I'm drinking a coffee today, man. So coffee. Yeah, Organized Chaos. NB4, RC8. There's a slew of radios in around that $300 point that all do as much or more than that IXSR, and also aren't hamstrung by being Android, which means it doesn't take a minute to boot them up. I think the RC8 is super slow in that it takes about 5 seconds to power up. The 1 minute boot up is inexcusable. Look behind the camera. Wait, hold on. Let me see. I don't know if this cable is long enough. Let me see. Let's see. Okay. Are you ready? Behind the camera. There's a horseshoe trophy, Thomas Jefferson, a squirrel, the Pope, the worst monkey candlestick you've ever seen. I asked my wife one year for Christmas, I asked her to get me a dead blow hammer, and she bought me an Estwing dead blow hammer, which is wild. Absolutely wild. Because I, for one, did not know that Estwing made dead blow hammers, and I was thinking, you know, run down to the Hazard Fraught and buy me a $5 neon orange dead blow hammer. And then she shows up with a 45-ounce Estwing that I feel guilty about hitting stuff with it because, I mean, I've been swinging Estwing hammers forever, but I'm not spending Estwing money on a dead blow hammer. That's insane. It's a rubber hammer with some sand in the end of it. I get a power surge every day just enough to knock the power off to my Xfinity cable and Wi-Fi. It takes about 20 minutes to boot back up. That's the future that we get to live in. Sean PRC, his voice and hands are addicting like some sort of drug. I haven't stopped watching him for days now. Keep it up. Oh, Sean P, anyone else interested? If you have some free time, turn on a device of some sort. Boot up the live stream from February 23rd and just let it run. For whatever reason, I have no way to explain this. We're going to get a little bit into the weeds here. YouTube performance is measured in two performance categories, RPM and CPM. RPM is how much advertisers pay per 1,000 views. Okay, this varies by day, literally by day. It's like a stock market. RPM. You can generally expect that RPM to be about $3. You get 1,000 views, you make $3. Now, that's just a flat. Let's start at the $3. The engagement, how long somebody watches it, will grow that RPM and make it bigger. The longer people watch, the more money you make per 1,000 views. CPM is the expression of, and my brain is getting foggy, is how much you make aggregate average per 1,000 views. So generally, CPM is going to be bigger than your RPM. The RPM on the live stream from February 23rd is $3,115. That live stream has 2 monetized views? 2. And I've made, I think, $6.48 off that video. So each person that watches it, I make about $3.50. That's insane. That's not a thing that happens. Most of my live streams have made about a penny. Up until they started auto doing the ads. Like the ads that I have to keep watching my studio pane up here and I can skip them. Now a live stream, I make 30 to 40 bucks on a live stream because they turned ads on. I guess they asked us. I don't read all the emails. You know I don't read all the emails. So maybe they were like, you can opt into this or alternately, you can opt out of this. I don't remember any of that process. I also can't get this. Somebody put this on with an impact wrench and I can't get it off. Is
that retroactive? So if somebody goes back and watches it,
yeah. Once it's monetized, if somebody watches it, so a $3,000 RPM video, but it has 2 monetized views. I always watch everything in completion. I run all the playlists constantly. You're always running in my house. Oh, Sean, I got to make Sean P like a small wooden trophy or something because, like, you're keeping the lights on around here proverbially.
They're counting views after they don't count the people that are watching it now.
They do now. So now, one of the gentlemen here is asking how monetization works on live streams. So they're all monetized now. Live streams are monetized. And I think they did that for them because remember, Google takes half the money. So they want more eyes watching the live streams so that they can make more money off the ads, which a lot of the time they sell to themselves. I don't know how that works. I don't know if I'm new to the channel. I've been here since the first live stream. We've chatted on email. I bought wheels for tires. Oh, I mean, I guess that would sort of classify as new to the channel. Been here since the first live stream. I didn't start. I went 2 years before I just decided to live stream. I feel like I missed a bunch of. I feel like I missed a bunch. I was just rambling away. Okay. I need a new S-Wing brick hammer. I've worn out another one. So I have a straight claw smooth face. That's the all-purpose around the house hammer. It's got that nice patina. Remember when they were gray? Can't fake that patina. But my framer, I'm down about halfway through the waffle on that. I try not to use a dumb hammer that often. If I can shoot it with a nail gun or a palm nailer, I'm going to do that. But, you know, got to have a hammer. Like, you're a guy, right? We're guys, right? Dirt under the pillow. At least 2 hammers. I don't know how many hammers I own. It's a lot. I'd pay for more subs. If you, Mr. Webby, if you're talking about for yourself, you can actually do that. Google encourages it. It's called... channel ad promotion. It is expensive. 1,000 subs will cost you about $100 if memory serves. No, I would rather, I have said this before and I stick to it more than ever, is I would much rather the subs come organically, because if you're paying for subs, your sub count is going to bump real quick and you're going to get everybody. They're just going to show up. And I don't know what percentage of the time. Oh, 9Bolt's got an ad. Now I want to go back and watch the first few live streams. I can't even remember. Oh, Bouncing Noise is AFK, so he's just going to be playing in the background. That's the best. I'm days away from my year mark on my channel membership. Heck yeah. I use a DeWalt hammer for stripping walls. I have a... Oh, man. Remember when... was it Stanley? It was either Stanley or DeWalt had one called a FooBar. Oh. I think it was a Stanley. I demoed the house we live in. All the demo I did with that FooBar. I have to just assume it's buried in the yard somewhere. I probably set it down on the ground, and that was the end of that. Fiskars makes one now, a demolition hammer. It's pretty good. But the Stanley and DeWalt ones, you could get the medium one that was about yay long, and then you could get a big full long one that almost looked like something a fireman would use. I love those things because you can put the twist on bent 2x4s and get them screwed together right. But I miss that tool. I also miss the set of mechanics wear gloves that I'm positive I built into a wall of the house. Oh, I was watching before, but I was pointing out I'm here all the time. Well, yeah. Stay here. Ed Scrivener has a brick hammer that's 2 inches shorter than it used to be because the face has lost half an inch. I know for a fact I've showed my shovel, my favorite shovel, the one with hockey tape all over the handle. The blade on that shovel is only about this long because it's been sharpened so many times to get the bent edge taken away. It started off about that long, and it's now, it might have like an 8-inch. It's what I call the work all day shovel because you can't get enough on the scoop to make your back hurt. So you just take a lot of little scoops all day, which is smarter. But, you know, working smarter, watch out. They got to remember who they're dealing with. The YouTube finances sound like Milo Minderbender's egg scheme from Catch-22. It's like, I swear to you, a lot of the time Google is paying themselves. I'm wondering if Google is a front for something else at this point, because I get 50% of ad revenue from a company that's paying me from their revenue from ads that they're displaying themselves. Because before I went premium, I distinctly remember a lot of ads on YouTube being ads for YouTube Premium. So one hand is washing the other, I guess. Metal hafted hammers are bad for your elbow. Swinging a hammer is bad for your elbow. I make every effort not to swing a hammer. Also, that smooth face, this hammer right here, this S-Swing, I'm almost positive I bought this hammer at Fedco I would have been at San Bernardino Valley College. So it would have been either 1992 or 1993. So this is a 32-year-old hammer. It's the real patina. And I've been using it to tear up, that's wood putty on there. Yeah, so I don't know how many, I have a bunch of wood hammers, but I would have killed them all by now. I always let the ads run. Does that help? Yeah. The more of an ad a person watches, the more you get paid for that ad. I detest ads. We talked about being Gen X and child neglect. Yeah. Do you make playlists of all the same episodes related to the same rig? Yes, I do. All of the It Came From the Workbench have their own playlists. If I don't have playlists on something, remind me and I will make a playlist of it. I got the subs thing wrong. I meant we should pay sub to build stuff. Oh, I see. I got a PayPal. If you're feeling loosey goosey with money, you can throw some over there. I'm not that guy that's like, oh my God, I saw a clip from a Twitch streamer that their goal was to raise X number of money that day to pay the rent. And I was like, lady, you were in the wrong business. Maybe you're in the right business. But to me, ethically, it feels like you're in the wrong business. Have you built anything G-made other than the spider? Yeah. Buffalo Bill is a GSO2F. That's an MST. I think just that GSO2F and then the spider. Which the spider, it shares a tremendous amount in common with the GSO2F. They just slap portals on it. I mean, it literally got X number of millimeters wider because they didn't even change the GA44s. It's the same axle. They just plugged portals onto the ends of it. So they went with the spider because anything else would have been far too wide. Hold on, I just seen what's on the bench. Yeah, Zoku Phoenix getting machine gears and a fusion. Starting with my tech questions, can you get a 4-link on the Creeper T? I can't remember if I already asked this. You did, and you can. I get ads now on Prime, Netflix, and YouTube about each other. There it is. It's just it's the Ouroboros, isn't it? It's the snake eating its own tail. Disney is the only one who adverts on others, but not on itself. Ooh, I've never noticed that. Amazon, most of the ads on Amazon are for Amazon. Doing concrete is also bad for your joints. Agreed. It's a way to start new incomes for when the AI takes over and machines do all the work. Yeah, that is true. That is true. What is your opinion on Enjora's new 1/10 gearbox? I haven't seen it. Oh my, Fedco. Do you remember Gemco? There was a Gemco less than a mile from my childhood home. And that Gemco became the first Target in the county, I want to say. And finally, eventually closed down due to excessive shrink, aka shoplifting. So yeah, in my hometown. Are those your rails? No, those are Zokus. Those are Zokus. The metal handle S-Wing is the best. You can use the metal handle as a hatchet to get through stuff. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Put the head through and kind of saw the neck down. Yeah, we've all been there. Sawback. Yeah. Okay, yeah, G-Made Sawback. I built that. Yeah, it's sitting right over there. Yeah, so that is 3 G-Mades. An advert for Love Honey. 9 bolts. What the hell is Love Honey? Don't mention the spider. I still hate Charlie. Hey, man. The RNG got you that time. Halfway think the ads for themselves is just a way to try to force people to upgrade to ad-free. Yeah, just as a matter of... I mean, I pay for Prime, and I will continue to pay for Prime far into the future because I've ordered from Amazon 3 times today. So the wife will come in and be like, I'm out of this thing for my face. And I go, order history, boom, ordered. The kid walks in, we only have 4 cans of cat food left. I go, boop, ordered. Oh, the shower curtain's gross, boop, ordered. Yeah, so you will have to pry my cold dead hands away from Prime. But God, if I will pay $2.99 a month to not watch 34 seconds worth of ads before an episode of The Boys. It's just not going to happen. I will just dissociate for a few seconds, and then it'll be as if the ad never occurred. Can you fit the Amazon Dig gearbox under a cab body? Well, now you're going to make me walk. Because yes and no. So, we've got our boy. Everybody loves Toothless. So we got Toothless, and he is now fit. He was not originally fitted with a dig box, but he is now fitted with a dig box. So if you put the regular one on, the dig servo is back here. Mr. Spain should have absolutely no problem. You cut a little piece of metal, and you make yourself that little guy, and it turns him into a little gear jammer, where he looks like a little... and then you just move the servo up there. You can also take that opportunity to put a micro on there, because those 7 kg Enjoras are plenty to actuate a dig. This is sort of an Amazon dig box. It's made out of parts from 3 gearboxes. A gentleman was kind enough to send in a reel. This is the only Hertz dig unit that I actually own. He bought it thinking it fit another gearbox, and it didn't. So he was like, I don't even feel like sending it back. So I mated it to some Amazon gearbox parts, and then did not want the servo sticking out behind the body. So yeah, you just cut a bracket. There have been a lot of dig box. I think most of my dig boxes are on some sort of custom bracket, because even under an ecto body, it puts the servo back right where the body curves down, and it won't clear. So clearly, when they were making these things with the big long thing that sticks out the back on the dig boxes, they were thinking full bodies. So if you want to run dig with a cab only, and you don't want to chop up the back of your cab, I mean, I cut the back of my cab to the absolute minimum. You just make a new bracket and put the servo on the top. So I mean, I cut it to fit to clear the drive shaft. The more cab there is, the better the cab looks. Oh, Love Honey is marital aids. That makes sense. That makes sense. I haven't researched into that, but sure. I'm more mad that Prime canceled The Tick. Oh, that was a good show. We can always go back and watch the cartoon. Motion at my front door. Is that Amazon finally? My receivers that I've been waiting for since Prime Day. That they were like, if you order these today, you'll have them tomorrow or Friday. That's why when Amazon tries to get me with, hey, would you like to put all of your stuff in one order and we'll just deliver it on one day? No. You're going to mess it up. And then you're going to deliver everything late. I don't trust them. An adult toy store that definitely doesn't sell RCs. Ed, did you check? Did you go through the pages and make sure they don't sell RCs? I bet they might sell something that is remote control, actually. It might not be what we're shopping for, but they definitely probably sell it. I'm still mad about ads on Prime. I refuse to pay. Yeah, 100%. I had long said that Prime, even in the business model that it's using now, is not sustainable, because you can order something on Prime that costs $2 and get it shipped free to your house. That's not a sustainable model. That's the Costco hot dog. That you're loss leading on that. But then I forget that there are people that buy movies and pay for and download, are still paying for MP3s and audiobooks and video games and buying things of which they're not actually getting anything. They're only getting a virtual product. And never forget, AWS, Amazon Web Storage. That's where Amazon makes all their money, and it's why they will exist forever, because they host all of the things that stream. I'm sure Google is using a lot of Amazon Web Storage, so they can afford to be a loss leader. How far back am I? Oh, custom bracket. If you have Disney Plus, there's a great show in there called Mr. In Between. I'm going to have to look that up. I want to put the Endura Micro Servo. It's a fantastic servo. Someone linked the Endura gearbox in the tech questions on the Disco earlier. I will look for that. I just hacked the heck out of my Ascent cab to fit my dig box. It's an Ascent cab, so just cut it. Arthur the Mothman. Have you seen the hilarious manual shifting 2-speed Traxxas put out for the TRX4M? But imagine that for dig. Manual dig! I was actually just informed just a few hours ago. I was talking about that now you can get portals and 2-speed for TRX4. And the gentleman said, yeah, but did you know that you have to shift the 2-speed manually? Like reach under the body and push a thing? And I was like, oh my God. You kind of have to appreciate it. Last question. How do Champs and Hyrax respond to OD and dig? I think the Champs like dig and Hyrax OD, but what's your expert opinion? That's pretty close. Hyrax, because they're more along the lines of what I call monoblocks. So we have a type of outer tread, and then we have an inner tread block. They are slightly different shaped, but that difference in shape is more cosmetic than anything. Tires that have orientations like that, they don't get as rude when you start presenting them with a bunch of overdrive, underdrive. So if you're running like 25+% underdrive or overdrive, the Hyrax is probably going to be better. But in terms of dig, directional tires with chevroning to the tread, they tend to do better. So the Deepwood / Champs would be better at that. So it's a toss-up. And also, depending on what you're running, the Hyrax, even with that stepped lug, is not going to be good if it gets wet or muddy. And Champs will be great if it gets wet or muddy. So it's like what I'm telling people now with XHX pins versus comp pins. It's not a situation of where buy one or the other. You're probably going to buy both. And if you already have Hyrax and if you already have Champs, run them and find out which one works better. Is the Vanquish dig noticeably different to the one from the? No, absolutely not. That real deal Hertz dig, you can take every individual part out of it and swap it with the parts that come on the Amazon dig boxes, like the black one and the gold one. Performance-wise, the slider, this little guy, the little dog, the guy that goes back and forth, it's the same exact piece in both gearboxes. The $30 Amazon box and the $90 Hertz dig unit are effectively interchangeable. Like, you can feel the quality of the machining. The piece is made better, and like the lever arm fits more nicely into the slot, but in terms of performance, they're pretty much exactly the same. The Grand Tour was a good show too. Heard it was ended. I think they're doing one more special for Grand Tour. I'm still loving Crawl Olympics. I just hate that I have to wait a whole week in between. I only have the energy in me to do that one day a week. How much did we spend on Prime Day? I don't want to talk about it. I ended up buying camping gear only. Then you were definitely more. They kept getting me. Congrats, it's a deal. Oh, this isn't even my thing. Dang it! I'm still waiting for my receivers. Those are eyebrow rings. That's what it's like to have children in the 21st century, everybody. I had to buy titanium eyebrow rings off of Amazon. My receivers still aren't here. Yeah, but honestly, like $250. I think I spent like $250. One of them did come. $50. How do I pass up an RC4 for $50? I also bought a, somebody linked in the Discord, the Creeper T with the forward motor mount for $28. I was like, dang it! I got a set of cut-to-length drive shafts for like, they were $15.99 or $16.99. I got a set of those. I got another set of beadlocks. They're an Injora style that I don't have. Black faces, but with the rainbow oil slick outer ring. Woo! Didn't need them. Had to buy them because they were $30. Yeah, Amazon, they got me good. Yeah, there's another 50. 60 kg was 50. So it happened quick. And I justified it by saying that I get paid in 2 days. So I just pre-spent. I took a little bit out of checking. Yeah. My company uses AWS. It's actually good and cheap comparatively to others. Last I had heard, and unless things have changed, Netflix uses AWS. Netflix, the guys that consume, what was it? At one point, Netflix was consuming 40% of all bandwidth in the world. Hey! They definitely sell RC in adult toy stores. There we go. It's confirmed. I know of something RC in an adult toy store. See, there we go. How reliable are Injora straight axles? Been looking at them, but they seem too cheap to be good. It depends on which ones they are. It depends on whether Injora is doing something in-house, like how Mias is making their new little things, or if they're just rebadging, right? Like, I have a couple sets of Mias axles, but the one that I trust the most, are the Mias nylons, because I don't see anybody else selling those Mias nylon axles. LOL, Traxxas, a manual shifting 2-speed. I wish Traxxas made a dig box. Never gonna happen. Red Cat already discounting the Ascent to $249. Yeah, I just saw that. I have Champs and Hyrax, but don't have neither Dig nor OD. I want to buy a new gearbox, but couldn't decide which. I want to use the Champs on that rig, so I'm going to get the Dig one. Yeah. If it's between a big overdrive, underdrive, or Dig, take Dig. Because unless you're running element axles, you can put underdrive, overdrive in the axles pretty inexpensively. Now, if you have an element with Dig, you start to run into problems. Because no one will make a Dig unit for a Stealth X. I just had it. It's a
Make a Deadpool one.
It's like a it's like a gladiator, right? Like a no top, like a cage back gladiator. Did you yes, your stickers just came yesterday, and rather than carry them out here, they're sitting on my desk inside. When I was editing, I heard the squeak of the mailbox door, and I brought them in the house. They're still sitting there. Hey, it took me 2 weeks to get Irwin's stickers out here, so there should be a Psycho Garage sticker up here at this point, but there isn't yet. I got refunded for the recall on my battery charger right before Prime Day started. Hey, nice. Oh, HVTO3. Amazon here did. They had the. I'm trying to make a gesture when I could just grab a wheel. So they had the, not the turbine style, not a 105, but they had the style that it was copper back here and oil slick on the ring, which was pretty good looking. But the rig that I have in mind for the wheel set that I bought was not. I wasn't going to do copper. Where does this rim go? Yeah, I unmounted from the tire shenanigans recently. I just unmounted all the tires, and the beadlock drawers are just full. Amazon. Oh, Mark Saxon got taken for about $200. Pro and some portals, 2800. Yeah. You heard anything about the Injora 124 motor and ESC was having all them problems? I don't do the 24 scale. I steer well clear. Even that is a smaller screw than what I want to deal with. So 24th scale. I won't even do 18th scale. UTB 12 notwithstanding. Because that is not 18th scale. If it was, it would have something like a 12-foot, 16-foot wheelbase, something like that, if you blew it up to full size. I'm trying cheap diamond straight axles from BDX. I'm willing to try most any straight axle. I've built a couple builds here off of $50 axle pairs. And you know what? Like, if there's a weak point, it's probably going to be the universals. But they've been absolutely fine so far. I have had no issues. Do you have any of the LP and Jora servos running 7 to 8.4 without burning up? I think I currently, so you're talking about the full case ones, the dark blue ones? I have 2 of them, and they're both running on at least 7.4. I don't think I run anything below 7.4. One of them might be on 8.4 if it's on a Pro. I've been working towards, now that we can get the Injora, the one that was out here in Toothless, now that we can get those things for like $20 or less, I've been switching a lot of things over to micros because they use regular spline. You can just put a regular Futaba horn on it. And my complaint was I don't want to have to buy a $12 to $15 horn for every servo I put in something. I'd rather either run 4409s or the Injora, the big full ones. I just replaced Zobazu's. He was running. Is he still running the big one? Now I'm doubting myself. I don't know. Yeah, he was running the full size one. He's got the. So this is one of the few servos that I'm willing to do the work or buy the stupid horn. It came with a horn, so I had to make a dumb adapter plate to run the dig. This is the Flash Hobby 1227 RP. It's the one servo that I kind of give it a pass. Like, I'll run a GFRC A20 CLSs. They're great, but I hate the little fiddly horns and the fact that the horns are $15. The 1227 comes with a horn. It's rated 11 kg, which is too much. It's really fast. I never have a problem with them. They're perpetually out of stock. They're like nearly impossible to find. So I've just been buying the Injora ones for like $16, $18 a piece. Amazon only got Bonita Creek for $40. Nothing was any good for me on Prime Day, so he spent $0. I keep forgetting that, like, Amazon.co.uk is very different from what we have over here. I could have spent way more. I drove my first Furatech system. I now understand why people break their rigs so easily. There's no feedback when stuff binds and the FOC just pushes the rig through it. Yep, there you go. I had an 18th scale way back in the before times. I had a Team Associated RC18T and put a little Castle used to make little systems that had tiny little high kV motors in them. It was lethally fast. It would break stuff just like you would go to make a turn and it would tuck a wheel under and just break an A-arm. So I think that was the real initiation of I don't want to mess with tiny things, much less this not wanting to mess with little tiny things. Hey, RC Jeep Guy. Shout out. How did I just get a Burlington Coat Factory ad? Burlington Coat Factory is still doing ads? Every time I go into a Burlington Coat Factory, we have one locally, and then there's one in the nearby Mills Mall. I'm like, how is this place not closed down yet? Like, it looks like even the people that work there have given up. They're just like, well, another day. We're open for at least one more day. I don't know if I've ever actually bought anything from a Burlington Coat Factory. And there's not enough coats. Honestly. Like, I guarantee you there's probably more housewares in a Burlington Coat Factory than there are coats. In case you should ever find yourself ambling past a Burlington Coat Factory. Hey, Andre Rosu, contributing to the Sawtooth. Same, not 1 cent on Prime Day, but $57 today for an FMM and Clone Creeper tee. You missed it by that much. If you had bought that, what was that, 2 days ago? 2 days ago it was $28, but only for the red one. The red one was the only one that was $28. I don't care what color it is. Andre throwing the subs away, indeed. Do your AGFRC 12 volt 3S 40 kg direct power run hot? Is that the rating on the SA75s? Is the SA75 a 40 kg? I thought it was a 45. Either way, I don't have any of the red case 40s. I have the 32 kg red cases, which are not direct power. And then in direct power, I have the SA75s, both the Gen 1 and the Gen 2, and they run ice cold. I've never had an SA75 even get warm. But AGFRC makes a lot of servos. So there might be a 40 kg model out there that I have not tried or have not used, and it might get hot. I don't know. Oh, Andre dropped 5 subs and went to bed. So he's headed out. Oh, Erwin is here. He's on vacation. Erwin's in Italy. He's probably supposed to be spending his time with his family. Maybe they're asleep. I don't know. It's late. Is it late in Italy? I feel like it's late. So maybe he can sneak through. People still want to try a coat on first before they buy it, I guess. I mean, yeah, I went through that same thing. We were in the area, and I was looking for I wanted a coat that is very medium weight, right? Not like a windbreaker, and I don't want an actual jacket. I live in Southern California. So I wanted a lightweight, like what would they used to call packable jackets? And I made the mistake of going to an REI. And I tried on like an Arc'teryx or one of those, some big name like that. It was a $350 jacket. Like, it felt fine, but it was mind you, like a packable jacket, a light jacket for $350. So we went over to the Columbia store by the Target, and they have what I call the baked potato jackets. They're like puffer jackets. And on the inside, it's like super reflective foil on the inside. So you can do that thing like a bird where you go like that and you're reflective on the inside. And that jacket was on sale for $59.99. I wear it all the time. I love it so much, and my wife hates it so much that I had to buy a second one. Because the one that I bought is like matte olive drab. And she goes, please stop wearing that jacket. And she took me to the Columbia store and bought me a black one. So if I'm going out somewhere with the wife, I have to wear the black one. But in all other situations, I wear the matte olive drab one. And I got 2 of them for like $115. So yeah, people do like to try on jackets in advance. But then when you look down and the jacket costs $350, you're like, what planet is this? My mocha frap was not great. Thai iced tea better. I don't do a mocha frap. I do a Java chip. Java chip is the key. You just have to make sure that if you're going to do errands or if you're going out on town, do those first, then get your Java chip and drink it on the way home, because it will fill all of the gaps in your teeth with little black chunks of the chips, and it will look like you have a pirate disease from the 16th century. So I don't recommend drinking a Java chip while like cruising the mall. Then just get a mocha. It won't be as good, but it won't give you pirate teeth. Experience. That's empirically gathered data. Yes, I run the SA75s. Mine run very hot. then something is not something. I'm going to automatically assume you're running them on 3S. They won't do 4S. And what I tell everybody, check endpoints. When your steering is at full lock, you should be able to wiggle the drag link ever so slightly. If it's rigid, then you're a couple points too far on the endpoint adjustment. Oh, yes. The soldering. Yeah. If you have a cold joint where the extension for the JST is attached, that will do it too, because you'd be starving it for amps. So that's possible as well. So yeah, I just do one thing at a time. Ooh, check Bass Pros for jackets. Yeah. I have a flannel. I have a great flannel from Bass Pros that I try to remember to wear when I'm working outside, and it's not warm enough to not wear a second layer, but it's not, you know what I'm saying, right? It's too cold for an actual coat, because you will just start sweating like a mule as soon as you start digging things when it's cold. I complain about the weather here because I've become used to it, and it's the only thing we have left to complain about other than the cost of living and everything else. But California is rough, dude. I mean, I know it's bad. Like, it doesn't get cold here. I'll just come out and say it. It doesn't get cold, but it does get really hot. And it gets hot to a point where people don't, unless you've been here, you can't really grasp what desert heat is like. If you've never, like the British folks, if any of you British folks are in the chat, you don't know what desert heat is like. Y'all ain't got deserts. That's not, I'm not hacking down on you because you don't know what desert heat is. You don't have a desert, so you don't know what it's like. I don't know what British winter is like, because our winter is your summer. So it's not uncommon for it to be 75 degrees here on Christmas. But it will get cold. And by cold, I mean like 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And I know right now the Michiganders and the Wisconsinites and the New Yorkers are like, 40 is cold. Why don't you grow a pair? And I'm like, yeah, but here's the thing. And I will die on this hill. When I was heavily into the cycling, the Michiganders and the Wisconsin guys and those guys would be like, we can only ride to a certain point a year, and then it just gets too cold. And I'm like, that's fine. That's not a problem here. And then they will start riding when winter is ending, and they'll get out there and they'll get on the bike, and they'll be all bundled up, and you'll see ice frozen on their bikes. And the guy was like, yeah, I rode today and it was 7 degrees or whatever. And I'm like, okay, that's rough. That's rough. And they go, but what was your daytime high? Like when you started your ride and when you ended your ride, what was it? And he goes, oh, I left the house and it was 7, and I got home and it was 7. And I go, that's where I've got you. I will stand by this. That's where a Californian will get you. Last night, the overnight low was 63 degrees. It is currently probably about 105. We will swing 40 degrees in a day, sometimes more. Not uncommon for us to have a 50-degree swing between the overnight low and the daytime high. This is the desert, baby. So on a bike ride, I will leave the house and it will be 60 degrees. And when I get home, it's 100. Do you know what you can't do? You can't dress for 60 and 100 at the same time. They don't line up. You're wearing layers when you start, and you're sweating all those layers off when you get home. So I posit, starting at 7 and finishing at 7 degrees. 7 degrees is absolutely savage. But you put on the clothes that you start the ride with, and when you end the ride, you're exactly the same. If you start at 60, you're wearing one set of things, and when you get home at 100, you're wearing a completely different set of things. It sucks, but it's the desert, and also it only gets to 40 in the winter. We had one freeze day last year. It got to 30 degrees one time, overnight, not during the day. It would never be 30 here during the day. I can't wear a jacket, not even in winter. I'm always warm, nice in winter, not so nice in summer. Well, you live in Spain. You jerk. Erwin, I am trying to put gears inside this VFD Twin, but if you are familiar with the channel, you've been here a couple times, I am easily distracted to the point of distraction. So basically what I'm doing here is just keeping my hands busy. I'm answering questions and I'm keeping my hands busy. And then I go over here. It's about 30-ish here, well toasty. In the UK. Yeah, I can't imagine, dude. So the building, it's 83 degrees inside the building right now. So I'd be like, what is that in the centigrades? High 20s? 27, 28, something like that. But I can imagine. I can try to imagine myself into the mindset of a British person. And yeah, near 90 has got to be hot. Like hot, hot. Oh, Mr. Scrivener has been to the desert in Australia. So that is advanced desert. We just have regular desert. If anything, we have coastal desert. The ocean is about 60 miles that way. Coastal desert and what they've got in Australia, nowhere in California will you find towns that are underground. So Australia does desert. And also everything that's trying to kill you. The coast between Monterey and San Francisco either gets Baltic Sea cold water or rivers of water coming from Baja. Yeah, it's one or the other. And when you live coastal, the British people can relate to living coastal. The ocean tells you what the weather is going to be like for that day. We're far. That 60 miles is far enough inland, and also it's a desert. So sometimes the onshore flow, it can't push through. It can't get through to us because it's just hot. And then we have the high desert behind us. And the clouds are coming in off the high desert and they can't make it. It's just too hot. We're in this horseshoe of hot. Yeah, horseshoe of hot. 40 degrees is cold when the wind is whipping around 35, 40 miles an hour. Yeah, I learned about the ill-fated bicycle ride to the south rim of the Grand Canyon. I learned all about wind chill because I just look at the number and it's like, oh, the number is 28. I'm like, 28 is survivable. 28 at 17 miles an hour. The wind chill is like 4. Yeah, I almost gave myself frostbite. My wife and I got married at a beach town in December. It was like 70 out. Yeah, it's SoCal. UK winter got nothing on what you boys get. Well, I mean, if we're talking UK winter versus Minnesota winter, Minnesota is like Sweden winter. So yeah, the British got it a bit easier. But then, yeah, there's a dude over here in Italy, and there's a dude over here in Spain where, what is winter? They ask, condescendingly. Winter is why rollers were invented. You don't need a roller. I've ridden the trainer a couple times. When I broke the hand and couldn't actually get on a bike, I went on Zwift, and I'm not saying addiction or anything, but I put 500 miles on Zwift in a month. And it was in a month. It was agonizing. Even if you video game it, riding in one place is, and I won't do rollers. I'm not mentally built for it. I would fall off for sure. I would get distracted and I would ride right off the rollers and crash into my own building. 32 C and 66% humidity. Nope. The Mediterranean Sea is determining your weather. Me brother lives in Michigan. What you lot deal with it is mental. UK can't deal with a bit of slush. Yeah, I've said, I make fun of the UK because you guys had like they had to stop the buses because it got to be like 90 degrees. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, it's 90 degrees here by 9:30 in the morning. Counterpoint, defense for the UK. If Southern California, if downtown Los Angeles got 1 inch of snow, it would be bedlam. The entire area would grind to a halt. Every freeway would be mass accidents. Every roof of every flat-roofed building would begin leaking immediately. All of the plants, trees, and grass would all die because that stuff is all acclimated to living in 100 degrees. So if it got cold enough to snow, everything would die. All the cars would crash. The infrastructure would fall apart. There'd be power outages. It would look like a disaster movie where The Rock is coming to save people. From like an inch of snow. Remember when, what was it, the South got like 2 inches of snow and like all the freeways, all the cars were just slamming into each other and everything came to a halt? It would be even worse in Southern California because we have 4 times as many people. And they can't drive when it rains. If you put snow on the ground, it'd be the end of all of us.
Can't drive in the sun.
You're from Southern California? I thought this was live from the RC company in Joliet, Illinois. So what YouTube and Google do is they automatically insert place data despite the fact that I have clearly put in all of my data where I am. And because my name is Crawler Canyon and the place in Illinois is called Crawler Canyon, they go, oh, same guy. Obviously. I have to go in and manually turn it off on every single video. I can't switch it off. I have to turn it off on each individual video, and I forget to do it. So I get more than my fair share of contact questions from people looking for Crawler Canyon in Illinois. That is not me. I am in the Inland Empire in Southern California. My family, my dad's side of the family is from Chicago, and I couldn't survive Chicago. No, I am too California to survive Chicago. Australia is more Mad Max apocalyptic wasteland than just mere desert. Yeah, they didn't even need to build sets. They just drove out into the desert. Winter is cold-ish here. Never more than 10 to 15 Celsius. I have no idea what those numbers mean. Which car are we working on? It's a Zoku Phoenix. I think I might have answered already. The secret of rollers is to set them up in a doorway. Interesting. In Michigan, it was 91 with 80% humidity. No. No. What motor we got? Oh, it's a Fusion Pro. I tell everybody, if you're not a lunatic, and most people are not, so to the non-lunatics that are going to get 2, 3, 4 crawlers, if the vehicle is fitted with a VFD or a twin, put a Fusion Pro in it. End of. Just done. I don't think that aside from, like, if you're going to build yourself a brazen front line, or if you're going to do something like that and you have to run a stubby, sure, put an Outrunner in there, it'll be nice. But this puts all the weight as low as you can get it. You don't have to mount a speed control. It cleans up all the wiring. You set it and you forget it. So in a VFD, I would argue that a Fusion Pro is the best possible solution for pretty much anybody running a VFD. Except, there's the comp guys that are shaving grams here and there. Yeah, it's not super light. It's not as light as what's in... Oh, spoilers. Like, it's never going to be this light, right? We're not talking Rhino S12 with an AG Ninja, right? A Fusion would take up all of this space right here and add a bunch of weight. But this is not necessarily optimized for a Fusion, and I would argue that this kind of is optimized for a Fusion. Just grabbing things and throwing things. Remember the G13 Pro fiasco? Hell yeah. A while back in Phoenix, we had 4 freeze days in a row and every plant in the valley died. Yeah. My yard has a bunch of pine trees in it, and like a whole branch will die and fall off if we have a freeze day, because these pine trees, they're tough summer boys. They don't know how to survive when it gets cold. Snow in Louisiana is fun. You're right about people not being able to drive in snow. Yeah, people in California can't drive in the rain because it doesn't rain. If you freeze the rain, it's over. That's 50 to 60 freedom units for you. So what you're telling me, Spain, is that the winter is 50 to 60 degrees. That's offensive. It's offensive. Didn't North Cal get like 30 feet of snow last year and they had to call in help from Canada? Yes, but that was that's in the Sierras. That was in the mountains. Yeah, Mammoth got more snow but there's nobody up there. The only people that lived up there are mountain lunatics. So when they see 30 feet of snow, they're like, yeah, this means no tourists. Yeah, mountain lunatics. As soon as you come down off the slopes, then you're going to end up in Sacramento and there's nothing there. Just heat. And tumbleweeds and urban sprawl. I have 7 Fusion Pros. I might be a fanboy. Indeed. Indeed. We do not have that number. I'm too much of an SE guy because I'm cheap. Yes, Erwin had mentioned to me in an Instagram message, he gets it now why we pay 3 times more for tusks than we do for fusks. Because it's this, right? This will get you, the Mix Racing Fake Tusk, will get you, I would say, probably 95% of the way. Between 90 and 95% of the way. But this will get you all the way. If you can get tusks, like these are used, right? So we're not going to get the gummy. But even just the spring back. You know, J Concepts Green. Yeah. J Concepts Green is its own thing. There's a lot of tire compounds out there, and I've driven a lot of tire compounds, but Green is that Swiss Army knife. It doesn't get super greasy when it's hot. It doesn't get super loaded with mud and hold on. It works. You can run a Tusk. I don't know if there's another tire. Canyon Trail, maybe. I don't know. Cut Canyon Trail. I'm trying to look at the rack. What tire could you take a tire, say it's this tire, put it on a wheel, mount it on a 5-pound rig, take that tire off and put it on a 12-pound rig, and it will perform just as well on both. Most tires have a real sweet spot, a real happy medium. Luckily, that happy medium tends to be in that like 6 to 7 pound area where we all live. But if you're trying to build a flyweight like I am with the 10 Pro over there, or you're putting accessories and a cage and a full thing on something and the weight is going up, all of a sudden, like we learned this with Diablo because his weight kept changing so much that all of a sudden that tire doesn't work anymore. All of a sudden that combo doesn't work anymore. Now that underdrive ratio doesn't work anymore. So we do it to ourselves. We know we do, but it's part of it. When we seeing that, the Pro, this Fusion Pro or the 10 Pro? Oh yeah, the 10 Pro. Probably this weekend. Probably sometime this weekend. Oh, that's unfortunate. That is deeply. The most unfortunate thing of the day has occurred. It just happened right now. This bearing, because I was picking this thing up and moving it around, this bearing fell out of this motor plate, and it fell out of the inside of the motor plate. Yeah, there's no way I can get that pick in there without taking those screws out. Oh, we suck again. But I'm just enjoying reading the chat and waving my hands around. Fusks are really good at Belgium temps, but not here. Yeah, every compound, regardless of what it is, every compound is going to have a temperature that it prefers. But green, that band of temperature gets much bigger. G8 is good here. Predator is good here. S5 is good down here. S4 is good over here. Durtrax and Louise, what do they just call them? Durtrax called it C3. C3 was fairly universal, but not ultra sticky at any point across the band. It was a nice versatile compound, but it didn't excel if it was cold or when it was wet or any of that, right? Green just, it manages to do all of the things pretty gooder. Have I told you that my Panther Cougars arrived and they perform crazy on a rig too big for them to be comfortable? Yeah. Matching this is why I'm not exceptionally quick to just discount a tire, because tire want rig that fit good, right? So sometime the test might not be the optimal rig to test a tire on. But I feel like I'm developing the sense for whether or not you can find an application where that tire will get better. A tire has to start off at a no pun intended baseline, right? If they can do well on baseline, odds are we can make them better. We can optimize the insert. we can find a rig that has more front weight or more aft weight or whatever and get a tire to perform better. But if a tire starts off with a mediocre score, it's never going to, no 92 is going to turn into a 97. That's not how it works. The tire has to start off, you can make a good tire better, but you can't make a bad tire good. And no insert alive can do it either. You can put the best insert in the world in a crappy tire and it's not going to get any better. I know a lot of people want it to, but I've tried. Yeah, Hunk I Love. I bought Fusks entirely because of your recommendation. Fantastic steel for amazing Chinesium. They are the best fake tire out there, and nothing else is even close. Nothing is even remotely close. We don't count Injoras as fake. Injora's doing their own thing. Nobody's making XHX pins. Nobody's making comp pins. Injora makes their own tires. Nobody's making Swamp Claws. Injora makes their own tires now, so they no longer qualify for Amazon stuff. So in terms of Amazon stuff, it's pretty much, it's Fusks. It's the only one worth buying. Any other one, you're sacrificing a significant amount of performance just to save some money, and at what cost? All will do better in the heat, I would assume, though. I mean, my fake ruptures do great out here in the desert. Yeah, I mean, some compounds, the heat will make them just softer. It won't make them act greasy. Compounds like Predator act really greasy when they get hot. And that greasiness starts at like 80 degrees. If it gets above about 80, they get really greasy. And I kind of noticed the same with the S5 on XHX pins. They don't get as greasy, but they definitely do feel greasy. There's a reason I've been making a lot of bespoke inserts for Tusk 475-525. That's what almost all the comp guys use. And on super lightweight wheels, carbon fiber, 3D printed or plastic. Yeah, super, super light stuff. Because J-Concept's medium, they know their market. They're shooting at like 6.5 pounds. So guys that want to run Tusks, which are fairly wide for comp guys, they need really, really soft inserts for those. Have you tried alt foams? Far too expensive. And they all run on what I like to call non-standard wheels. Yeah. My number one narrator of all YT Crawler vids, your humor always makes me smile. Greets from Germany. Hey, Grumpy Cat. I like the look of XHX, but I'm probably going to have to get S4 comp pins being in Arizona. Y'all get winter. Y'all get winter. And I think the XHX pin is just treat it like Predator. It's good up to about like 85 degrees or so.
February.
So, yeah. A fellow Arizonian over here says February. You'll be able to run XHX pins in Arizona in February. So you will have unmatched performance in the month of February. But I kind of have the same thing here. Like, I have 2 sets of XHX pins. We can get away with them probably about 4 months out of the year. But winter, basically. But for the most part, it's going to be S4 pins because I could go out and I could run them right now. They wouldn't be great because the temperature on the rocks is probably about 130 degrees, but they'll still work. Yeah, so if you're going to limit yourself to a single set out there in the great state of Arizona, I would definitely say the S4s. They will handle it better. So S5 going to melt in Phoenix? Yeah, I mean, this time of year, they'd melt here. So in Phoenix, yeah, probably. Time to have a barbecue for dinner at my grandparents' house. It's a sweet night right now, and we can hear some music from a faraway festival. What? Okay, look, we all come here as a collective of casual people that are just having a good time, and Mr. Spain has just got a flex on us. So he's going to go to his nighttime barbecue in beautiful Spain, where music is just piped in. It just happens. You don't even need to turn any on. There's just music in the air at night. And of course, it's beautiful and not too hot and also not too cold. You don't even need to own a sweater. I feel like he's fronting on all of us as a group. He forgets that right across the water is the UK, where it's slate gray skies a lot of the time. Most reviewers use 3D inserts. What happened to good old Canyon Customs? I still use them. The test set. How many tires do you think these old boys have been wedged in? The answer is a lot. They still work great. They're filled with dents. They still work great. That goes in pretty much, if it's a class 2, these are in the front, and these very dirty hair buttons are in the rear. Still, they're getting all straggly. They are not the absolute best, but you know what they are? They're cheap. And I can take them from a 7-pound rig and put them in a 5-pound rig and put them in an 8-pound rig, and they'll work just well enough. I'm working on a few sets for a guy now. His 2.2 rig is 1,500 grams all in. That is stupid. That's stupid. 1,500 is 1,500. I can tell you this now. So it'll be, like I say, it'll be in a video coming up. If you remove his wheels and tires as he sits right now, he's 1,500 grams. No wheels, no tires, no body. 1,500. Because I was weighing him that way because I wanted to see where I was shaving weight the most. It's pretty light, but there'll be a video. So y'all's just going to have to wait. Y'all's is waiting. Hey, I got to the bottom of the comments. You should make and sell those inserts. Drive you mad. No. No. You can go on Amazon and you can buy all the parts. I have no desire. Brorb can corner the market on that. He can have it. I am not getting into the insert business. That's a competitive arena, and he's doing it right. Rob Inserts is doing it right in making customs, making inserts for a specific tire for a specific build. My Canyon Customs are as close as I could approximate to a universal insert. And I still find them in many instances to be superior to silicones because they are lighter. And sometimes, in certain instances, you don't want a 70-gram insert. I mean, I get it. If somebody says, oh, I don't run Injora silicones because I don't want my inserts to weigh 70 grams, yeah, I get it. Seeing as an open cell phone weighs 15, yeah, it absolutely makes sense. I'm going to set a new record. It's going to take me 2 hours to take this VFD Twin apart and put it back together. It is about a 10-minute job, but then you take it apart and it all just disintegrates. Whee! We get to get rid of a bunch of Eclipse though. That's nice. I asked Mr. Injora about S4 Swamp Claws and he said he was working on it. Yeah. I would buy S4 Swamp Claws today. Because I think they should go back and remake as many tires as they can in S4. S3, in my estimation, the only thing really holding Kraken Claws, Swamp Claws, King Trekkers, holding all of those back was that S3 compound. S3 is not great. It's not awful. It is unremarkable. It's better than your typical Amazon stuff, but it's not good enough for me to be like, yeah, let's do that. Yeah. Wait. So help me. So help me. If that's one piece, you're all fired. Not you. Not you guys. This gearbox already has machine gears in it. As soon as that fell out and it was one piece. As soon as that fell out. We put it back together.
I didn't know.
I thought back when they first came out, the
kit
has.
It came with them. But this guy didn't inform him that he'd already... So you bought this rig, and it had these gears in it, but he gave you a bag of gears as well.
No, that one gave me the bag of gears. But this guy, this is one that was all mixed matched and had all kinds of shit. I'm thinking there's no way he spent the money to put those gears in there.
Because I thought the kit comes with machine gears.
No.
That's why.
For a while there, they were doing the machine gears as like an option. Like they were like, oh, if you buy right now, we'll give you free machine gears.
Oh, okay.
Jeff, let me tell you. I wish I could say that we were going full McLaughlin and we were building a mystery. But no, indeed, what was happening instead was I was disassembling a VFD twin and then putting it back together. Just for shens.
Keep your hands busy.
Just to keep my hands busy. Where'd that other gear go? Oh! No, I didn't take this apart for no reason. This gearbox was not assembled correctly. That is not supposed to fall out. Did I take those out? I might have taken those out. That should not fall out. That should stay. Maybe I did it. I was drunk. I was drunk the whole time. It's not true. Like I say, it's just busy hands. Where did that gear go? Yeah, but the one that allows... Oh, it didn't. It didn't. No. It didn't. It's still there. That's dig. I was trying to find the second gear for dig. What's your opinion on the new VRD Builders kit with the straight axles? All right, here we go, Bill. Buckle up.
It's awesome.
Best thing ever.
Here we go. Are you ready? I want to make sure y'all's ready. The VRD straight axle builders kit is a DIY stance. It's a stance that you build yourself. It does not have a single machined gear in it. It also has straight axles, and they have the audacity to price that thing at $290. The VRD Carbon costs $139 more than the VRD straight axle kit. The Carbon rails alone cost $100. So now we have a $39 differential. The VRD Carbon comes with machine gears in the axles. That costs $80. We're now $40 ahead of the straight axle. And then it has better links, better shocks, lightened and machine gears in the front of the gearbox, lightened and machine gears in the back of the gearbox, an aluminum motor plate, aluminum standoffs, etc., etc., etc. Slipper eliminator, the whole deal. There is no reason under the sun to buy a VRD straight kit. If you absolutely must have straight axles, buy a VRD Carbon with portals, go on the internet and say, hey, I'm trading a set of F10 portals for F10 straights. Someone will take you up on it like that. And then you can build yourself a straight axle VRD for what I will classify as whatever reason, tickling of the fancy. And the VS 410 Builders Kit is perhaps more egregious because that is a build-it-yourself for dice. It has not a single machine gear in it anywhere at all. And you're paying $300. They priced that at $300 when a Phoenix kit is, last I checked, might have changed. A Phoenix kit is $399.99. You get a VFD twin instead of a VFD. That is $50 right there. You get a Phoenix body, which costs $150. You get Wild Peak tires on plastic wheels, which even if you hate them and despise them and you never want to use them, you can sell them on eBay in a heartbeat for $60. So if you buy a Phoenix kit, it is going to cost less.
Machine gears in the axles.
And yes, machined gears in the axles. Don't let them get away with what they are trying to get away with. Do not, please, do not buy a VRD straight axle. Do not buy a VS410 builder's kit. If you really want a VS410, like with the C channel, you can buy a chassis. You can buy a VS410 chassis kit for $100. You might be able to find somebody that'll give you one for free. Get a friend, convince them to buy a Zoku. And then when they get done assembling it, say to them, hey, can I
I got one you can have.
can I have your old chassis? Get it for free. Build a rig out of it. I've done it before.
What's in the home?
Seems like you ain't all that happy with Vanquish. I don't like what they've done. How much do machined gears add to a kit? The bag of gears that's right here, this right here, if memory serves, that collection of gears is $60, and then the front end gears are $35. It's about $100 just to replace the gears inside the gearbox.
Front end gears are like 60 or 70.
No, I think the two fronts are $35.
They're individually priced. One was like 30 and one was like 40.
Not going to argue with you. Oh, I guess I could re-grease it. Then, for the love of God, do not buy a stance. You're taking the words right out of my mouth. Yeah. Oh, yes. As was pointed out from the peanut gallery over here, the price point they set the VRD straight kit at makes the stance look pretty good. Because let's break it down. $290 for a builder's kit, no wheels, no tires, no body, no electronics, no nothing. You can get a stance for $499, right? So we're talking what, that $200? No, it's still not a good deal. No, still don't buy a stance. It does make the stance look better though. Wait, that's $300 to $500. Yeah, it's still $200 difference. But here's the deal. If you buy a VRD straight and put $200 into it, you've got a stance. You still won't catch a carbon. Yeah, and the stance, the RTR is portals.
Yeah.
So there is an advantage to the stance.
Wheels, tires, electronics, radio, receiver, body.
Yeah, but the body is a boat and the electronics are garbage.
Body's awesome.
Weirdo.
Some people like Chris Craft.
Some people like boats. I'm just a boat hater.
Just nobody young.
The VRD is straight shrinkflation at its finest. 100%. The cereal boxes are thinner now, and a stance looks like a Vanquish. And I guess if we're talking about today, I guess it is a Vanquish, and that's the part that makes me sad. How about buy about 3 trucks, take them all apart, and make 3 that you like? Just start from scratch, man. If you own one, like I've been pondering over this question because I have voices that chitter in my ear about, well, what if you're just getting into the hobby? Wouldn't the stance be a good place to start? It's $500. No, $300 is a good place to start. If you want to build in, but the stance is more capable. If you're talking about like a $300 like an Enduro SE, there's more capability in the stance. Yeah, not arguing it. What I am arguing is you ain't getting $500 worth of truck when you buy a $500 stance. You're just not. They're robbing you. In bicycles, we call it the roadie tax, where if you ride road bikes, everything costs more. Well, apparently, if you want to drive toy trucks very slowly, everything costs more. Go look at a stance, $500 RTR, and then go into A-Main and go into cars and trucks and sort and see what you can get for $500. You get more. You just get more. You can get, I guarantee you can buy something from Arma that'll do 70 miles an hour for $500. But if you want to do 3 miles an hour, God help you. You're going to spend $1,000.
You can blame all the new people getting into the hobby.
Oh, Nicholas got his first ad. What? I had forgotten what I had said, and then Driver A brought it back. Get a friend? Why not just tell me to count the angels dancing on the head of a pin? Sir, I think you're perhaps being too hard on yourself. I've never met you, but I'm going to assume. I can state as an oldie, I'm an old person myself. Making friends after 25 gets pretty difficult. Friends after 40 is tough. You know what does work though? The ROI is still left to be fully fleshed out. But if you start a YouTube channel and put 8 hours a day of work into it for a couple of years, you can lure people to your house if that's something you're looking for. I don't know if this is a business model, but I can state from experience that if you start a YouTube channel, you can lure people to your house. Okay. I just had a moment of existential panic. There's that one. If I find one more bearing on the bench, I'm going to lose my mind. Nope. Good. We're good. When you put a gearbox together and there's one more bearing left over, you begin to panic. And then you remember the bearing fell out of this motor plate. So we have to put that back in before we can put the rest of the gearbox together. Whew, that was touch and go. For just a moment. If nothing else, I'm giving everyone involved absolutely no insight into how to build a VFD twin. Because I've done it. I've done 2 full videos on this. I mean, and I took this one apart for no reason. I found out later. Could buy an axial base camp. The axial base camp is great. The kit is great. That is an instance where it's amazing how much better the kit is than the RTR, because the RTR is saddled with like really bad tires and a really bad body. That all sounded great until it got to the luring part. Well, I mean, what else do we call it? It's on the floor. No. Well, I mean, I would hope, but no, I don't think I dropped anything. I can't use the phrase I don't think I lost anything, because I've definitely lost some stuff. I can build a complete CF rig for around $600, radio and electronics included. Yep. The way that the pricing is steadily advancing on kits, much less RTRs, they are pricing themselves out of their own market. A $300 kit, there was a time when, and I say this knowing that there's a VRD carbon over there sitting there, and that kit is $429. But because Vanquish upgrade and replacement parts are so expensive, that $429 is a bargain. And compared to what else they're trundling out and trying to form into a sandwich and get us to eat, that $429 is a steal. $200. I was just asked how much the HPI Venture SBK is. They're $200. I need to get one. I keep telling myself maybe this month is the month. Maybe
money on Prime Day.
Oh, Bouncing Noise is AFK again. I mostly lure people in with my dead animal collection. I would like to hear more about that.
That's not weird at all.
Bouncing Noise AFK. My Trial Ascent overdrive gears came. Put them in. Makes one wonder what's really under all those rocks. I'll never tell. I'll never tell what's under the rocks. Okay. Gare says base camp or VRD straight. Base camp by a lot. By a lot. The base camp comes with the LCXU, which is the best gearbox Axial has ever made, hands down. There are no contenders. Now, we can't say the 10-2 box. That's not a thing. We can't say a regular 3-gear because they just stole that, right? So the 3-gear is great because it was great when Traxxas did it. It was great when Associated did it. It was great when everybody was trundling out a 3-gear. So sure, a 10-2 gearbox works. It's a 3-gear. But the LCXU is a different gearbox and it builds weird. And the motor seems like it's oddly high. But the dig works immaculately. It's darn near as quiet as a Stealth X. It's the only one I run. The grandest of all available shames is that in their infinite wisdom, Horizon won't sell an LCXU gearbox kit. That we just can't go on A main, spend $70 and buy an LCXU. Because I would. I wouldn't buy one. I would buy several. Dead Things Remember the Flies. That sounds like an album title. To like a really metally album. I suppose I could make a friend if I changed my name to Dr. Frankenstein. Hey. Oh, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. It's Frankenstein! Does the Rocket V2 brush motor you have run a little warmer than other motors? No. What about the VRD and VS410 kits about for $290 coming up next week? That's what I've been griping about. Don't buy either of those. There's no value. The VRD is a build-it-yourself straight axle stance, and the VS410 builder's kit is a do-it-yourself Fordyce, but without all the Fordyce pieces. Go on A-Main and see what it would cost to turn a VS410 builder's kit into a Fordyce, and you'd be like, oh, I see why there's no value there. The body alone. Builder's kits have to provide a very specific amount of value. It's really tough for me to say, yeah, I want to buy this builder's kit that costs $300 because $250 is a much more appetizing price, and yet we still can't even get Element Builder's Kit 3. So help me God, if Element finally releases Element Builder's Kit 3 and it's $300, I'm going to lose my mind. This is not rocket surgery. I don't know why it's so hard. Sun City Outlaws is going to crawl. He'll get the first bubbly thumbs up of the day. That's a good place to be. I am here, and I love being here, and it's made all that much easier in that I can't go crawling right now. It is a furnace out there. It is particularly hot today. Like I say, whatever the Apple weather says, add 5. Apple's weather says a nice, smooth, even 100. So it is at least 105, and that means it's 105 outside the workshop. When you get out into the desert biome where there's no tree cover, it's 110, 112 out in the open on the dirt. Batteries don't like it. Bodies don't like it. Tires don't like it. Electronics don't like it. Nothing likes it. I don't like it. The lizards seem to be okay with it. What the LCXU needs is a servo plate that will hold the TRX4M servos. That's what I made. But I put it back. Yeah, that's what I made. To micro. I don't know, like, there are some companies, and it's an Axial. Like, how surprised were we to see the LCXU, which is an Axial, want a full-size servo for dig, when every other thing they make Micro, 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 micro. How did that thing not have a bracket for a micro? The one thing that needs a micro came with a bracket for a standard servo. E.T. Atari video game cartridges is my guess for what's under the rocks. That and what was it? What were the things, the shipping containers that went over the side of a boat and still in like, is it Norway? They still get Legos washing up on the beach. They've been washing up on the beach for like 50 years. So, Norwegian, wait, okay, what is it? Flotsam falls overboard and Jetsam is thrown overboard. So Norwegian Lego Flotsam and Atari video game cartridges. But in all seriousness, somewhere there is a landfill that's filled with Atari ET video game cartridges. Did anyone get a Mojave Grom? Too small. Aside from the VRD Carbon, it seems like Vanquish is trying to shed its reputation as high-end. Yep. There's a thing that they call cachet, right? Ooh, français. Parlez-vous français? Oh, zut alors. They're trying to just throw that cachet away. Because if you look at them, ignore the little V logos, ignore that they're Vanquish, and try to tell me that the VRD straight axle and the VS410 Builders Kit don't look like the two new releases from Horizon. They absolutely look like something that Axial would make. And I'm not setting out to denigrate Axial. I'm just saying what it looks like. I did succeed in losing one tiny screw that goes right tiny there. So we could look for it, or we could just go like this. We have some. Oh, and yellow rubber ducks. Yeah. As a boy, I went looking for skulls and stuff. Nowadays, I do next to toy cars, some taxidermy and jars. Oh. Ooh. Couldn't get one of my clone OD3s to shut up, so throwing the FMM and Creeper T in the rig, wanting the 30% OD, and hopefully it's quiet. Yeah, everything I've done with a Creeper T in it has been quiet. Hasn't made a peep. Now, that said, the quality, there it is. Just replaced it, and there it is. It just appeared out of the bench. The quality control. The quality control on all of that stuff is, I don't even want to get my kids Groms. I'm going to get them Gorgons. I don't know what a Gorgon is, but it sounds remarkably Arma. The Arma Gorgon, and the Typhon, and the Kraton, and the Centon. Yeah, if it's got Ton on the end, I guess Arma makes it. I've got a Kraton. I know another couple people out there have Kraytons, or as I like to call it, the vehicle I recommend to no one. It's too stupid. Like, Arma went too far. That thing is dumb as hell. There's nowhere to drive it. You need 2 football fields to even try to get it up to speed. Brian Massey's hitting the trails. Everybody gets to go crawling today, man. Until Element or Traxxas bring back kits, I'm happy we still have options, but we kind of don't. Why would any company want to lose its reputation? I have no idea. I got a 3 Racing Crawler EX secondhand and used with a 1080 and a Cherokee hardbody for 100 pounds. But it's odd. You know. Oh, yeah, I know what the Gorgon is. Yeah. It's an Arma Stampede. Yeah. I remember it now. Yeah, Gorgon great for kids because Arma, and I've been a Traxxas guy for a long, long time, Arma delivers on something that Traxxas started to not deliver on, and by design, which is when you get it out of the box and you bring it home, baby, you gonna break it. You gonna break that thing. That thing gonna break. Because that's smart, because you sell all the parts. and it keeps RPM in business because they sell all the less breaky parts for it. So there were a lot of vehicles that when you would buy it, you'd set out to buy a Stampede or something, and what are the first things you do? You put RPM arms on it, and you put Lunsford titanium links on it because you know the factory ones are just going to fail. And we gripe, and we kick our feet, and we complain, and then we think, I mean, it is a whole, right? The aftermarket companies rely on vehicles not being too good. Because if they're too good, people aren't going to pour money into them. I mean, it's not fun for the end user, for the consumer. We feel like we're getting the bent shaft, but I mean, it is the reality. Now, the trajectory that Vanquish has opted for doesn't make sense to me. As Mick said, why would you want to give up your reputation when your reputation is good? Because reputation in an industry, regardless of what your industry is, reputation is a lot. I still won't buy a Hyundai. And I know a lot of people have Hyundais and they have no problems with them whatsoever. But I remember Hyundais from the 1980s and they were garbage. Vanquish is apparently bizarro world Hyundai. They started off making amazing things, and now they're giving us shrinkflated non-options, and Hyundai makes cars that people are like, this thing's great. So, is it a shame to see Vanquish moving on an opposite trajectory from Hyundai? Yeah. But, whatever, Scoochie, at the same time, as a stereotypical mobster in a movie would say, what are you going to do? Too hot to be out crawling right now. Agreed. Questionable QC is understandable dealing with clones. Yeah. Glad to hear they're quiet for you. Well, the first thing you do, there's just 3 screws. Pull the 3 screws out and just CV join it. Just hose it in there and put it back together. You need to get your string lights sorted for evening crawls. I just need to put up more string lights. You can drive out here at night easy. The abuse I put on a Creeper T and Mias axles in the last 3 weeks. Yeah, Irwin is torture testing some stuff. So if it is withstanding, if it's picking up what he's putting down, then that speaks well of the clone and the Mias axles, Mias nylon. But like I say, I have yet to... Okay, I was going to say I've yet to break apart on a Mias. I tumbled Ratchet off the top of Hannah Montana and bent both of his rear stub axles. But he runs axle extenders, so it's not a typical thing, right? Like he runs those big long hexes. I don't think they would have bent if it wasn't for those adapters. So I just got into the little parts bag and put new stub axles in them and reminded myself, hey, maybe don't throw yourself off the top of a mountain today. And it should be fine. I don't fault the axle at all, just like I don't fault element rod ends when I tear them. They're thin. Sometimes they're going to break. Vanquish can't always sell $1,000 high-end CNC rigs and make money. They're just taking a page from Traxxas. Is there truly $700 worth of plastic in a Max Slash? No. But you can take a Max Slash out of the box and go outside and turn yourself into an absolute idiot. Because even the stuff that just comes in it. And Traxxas, love him or hate him, and most people hate him, I feel like, they not only pioneered the RTR movement, they perfected the RTR movement. Like, they give you something that is more than good enough to do the work, but not durable enough to be indestructible. Arma gives you stuff that, in my estimation, is approaching indestructible. I have torn a rod end on my Kraton, and that's it. And I have done that where it does the end over end. What do they call those things? Cartwheels. I've cartwheeled that thing for 50 feet, and nothing breaks. So they made the Armas so durable that the only hurdle you have to overcome is if you're foolhardy enough not to buy an EXB roller. I was foolhardy enough. You get to replace all of the Spectrum garbage masquerading as electronics. Buy rollers, everybody. Arma's still doing rollers. I just wish more companies would do rollers. Just do rollers. If here's are you ready? Are you ready for this? It's wild. It's absolutely wild. If Vanquish offered a stance roller for $400, I might consider that. That might be worthy of consideration. Because for $100, you can put what you need in it, and then you have a stance that costs $500, but has good electronics in it. Vanquish, if they're going to try to be axial, they should stop trying to be so axial and start trying to be a little more Horizon. Because Horizon is still putting out a lot of rollers. Most everything Arma releases will come in a roller as well as an RTR. They basically don't do kits. I mean, they have a couple, I think. I'm not even sure. I think it might just all be rollers. From where we've ended up, between where we started out and where we ended, I think I'm okay with rollers now. It beats the alternative. The Max Too Geek to Be Chic says the Max Slash makes no sense when the UDR is $50 more. I could make a counterpoint to that. Every UDR owner I have ever met would describe the UDR as a hole in the ground into which you pour money. A Max Slash is basically a slash made out of a Max, out of an Emax. There's going to be an elevated level of durability there. There's a lot of scale. The Max Slash is definitely more what Traxxas used to be than the UDR. The UDR is Traxxas, I think, overreaching into a segment that that's not really their niche. But then again, Losi out there with Baja Rays and Hammer Rays and this kind of ray and that kind of ray. And they are all, from what I've been told, frangible. The guys I know that drive rays are just used to replacing everything. Those dudes have a relationship with their local Vitavon dealer because they're going to break stuff. It's not about when. It's not about if. It's about when. Two-wheel driving brush. Okay, there we go. I think Vanquish struggles for machine time being a small company, so yeah, they chose to use another company to make sintered gears to get a volume of products to combat being out of stock. Or you could get a second company to make you machine gears. But what they're not saying, what they're not saying aloud, but they're saying not through word but through deed, is that the cost of sintered gears is so much lower than the cost of machine gears. That why they don't want to talk about it is what they're not passing on to the customer is the savings. You're still paying the same money that you used to be paying for machined and prestige and cachet, but now it's the quality you get in an axial base camp. And I'm not denigrating the base camp. I'm just saying that I think the base camp kit is priced appropriately. And it was on sale, what was it, about a month ago? You could pick up a Basecamp Builders kit for $199. I would like you to think about that for just a second. You could get a Basecamp Builders kit, which comes with Dig, for $199. And a Vanquish Builders kit is $300. Does it have Dig? No. You can get Dig as an option. It's only $100. So what we're getting now from Vanquish is axial quality, but Vanquish prices. And I don't think I've ever said a phrase that was that had more silent condemnation in it. Sad days indeed. I bought the extra axle shaft gear set with my Mias just in case. Yeah, I bought mine Did the same thing when I bought my first set of Mias axles. I bought the $15 bag of gears and shafts, and they sat here for so long that I took them and I built a set of F10s because all I had to order were the universal F10 universals. So I built a set of F10 portals that are all inners from Mias, except for the drive shaft because, centered pumpkin versus offset. There is a Gorgon kit. JDA 179, I want a limitless roller. I have one. It's right down here. Someday I'll remember that I own it and I'll paint it. Someday. No telling when. I hate gear covers. There we go. It was stuck on servo wires. Of course it was. Palle Peterson is going to bed. I don't know how it works. So if I do a bad mimicry of your native accent, you know me, man. I don't mean nothing by it. All of my Scandinavian accentry, I just made up that word, comes from watching movies from the region like Troll and Rare Exports. What a great movie Rare Exports is. And British people, I watch too much Yogscast videos, so there's a lot of people from the north and Bristol, and then Lydia from London. Governor! It's all stereotypical British accents to our untuned American ear. I'll be testing S4 pins and S5 XHX in Austria next week. Oh, Austria. What happens when we can't get the Chinese parts? I'm going old junk nobody else wants. I guess I'll have lots of Red Cat. We're gonna have to buy the Vanquish rollers and sliders. Maybe that's what they're banking on. Do they know that the tariffs and restrictions are coming? And they're like, we're gonna get them used to eating the swill, and in the future the swill will taste like sweet, sweet ice cream desserts. It's possible. Can't rule it out. Proudly made in the USA, except for the parts that aren't, which is almost all of them. They have invested millions in CNC equipment. Can't be easy to make equipment payments selling toy cars. I don't want to get into sunk cost. I really don't. I know how a bottom line is maintained, and I know how a market works, and I know how the market controls pricing, and we're operating in a realm where the market does not control pricing. The pricing is controlled by the manufacturer and the distributor and the vendor because we don't have any other choices. But we do. We still have Amazon, and we can buy the Chinese junk, and it's not as good, but it costs significantly less. And guess what? All those Chinese companies got sunk costs too. It's not optimal. I don't like it, right? But a Vanquish Hertz dig unit is $100, and I can buy a complete gearbox for $29.99. That's just reality. That's just the reality of it. Saw it on bikes too. I was buying, here's another one. Here's another one that is anti-defense of, Jeff at the Temple, in quotes, global components. After the presidential election, how are tariffs going to be? Well, Biden did the one about the batteries. So what is it? Is it January 1st of next year or July 1st of next year? The tariffs on all imported lithium batteries goes up between 25% and 100%, depending on what the battery is. Do they expect us to mine the lithium here? If we want to get lithium batteries, we have to buy them from people who mine lithium to make lithium batteries. So I don't know what the end goal is there other than to generate more revenue from the end user. you do notice that they're not specifically taxing manufacturers. They're taxing people who buy them. So we all get to pay. Lee Jordan has never seen Rare Exports. You gotta. It might be my wife's favorite Christmas movie. I don't know about accents, but you have the Midwestern goodbye nailed. I've worked on it. The Max Slash makes even less sense when the Mojave is cheaper and arguably better. I miss the 6S Mojave. Because now all you can get is the RTR Mojave. But yeah, I will 100% agree that it's a better deal than a Max Slash. But then again, you got Ford people, and you got Chevy people, and you got Traxxas people. And in this day and age, we even have, lo and behold, we got Vanquish people. And are they going to kill off all the Vanquish people? No. I mean, they will persevere and persist. But I don't think that they're going to grow a fan base as fervent as the one that they had worked to grow before. Watch the original, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo for real Scandinavian. Oh, the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. That's, I can see her face. Yeah, don't watch the reboot of it. No. You gotta watch the Lisbeth Salander. You gotta watch the, why? I'm so old. Somebody in chat just type what her name is. She's been in a bunch of movies now. Damn it. I can say, how do you Google it? Hey, Google, what's the name of that actress whose name I can't remember? Oh, she also played a movie. She was in a Netflix movie called There's Something About Monday, or The Thing About Monday. I'm just watching. I'm just staring at the chat, waiting for it to pop up.
I'm trying to think of the actor who's in The Girl with the Dragon.
The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Yeah, that series, the original, it's so good. So good. Numi Rapace! There it is.
That one might be you.
Numi Rapace. It exploded out of me because I remembered she's great. And okay. I've watched a lot of movies in my time. Let me tell you something. Most movies don't need to be remade. They just don't. Most movies get it right, okay? Movies can be retranslated. As I was telling the guy over here a couple days ago, do you like the movie The Magnificent Seven? Or, by extension, do you like the movie The Dirty Dozen? Well, then you like Seven Samurai, because that was the original one. But they didn't remake it. Do you see what Hollywood and other countries used to do? They didn't remake a movie. They just took the idea. Apocalypse Now is just from a short story about colonial Africa that the name I can't remember. And I studied this for my degree and it's gone. Heart of Darkness! It's Heart of Darkness. Apocalypse Now is just Heart of Darkness. But now what they do is the Japanese make a movie about a ghost that haunts your house, or a ghost that crawls out of your TV, or a ghost that's like, where was the other ghost? Oh, because somebody drowned in the water tank on the roof. Was that Dark Water? And of course we've got Ring, which was Ringu, and of course we've got The Grudge, which was Ju-on. That might have been Korean. Was that Korean? Anyway. They just take an American person and they put it in the movie and then they remake it. And it's the same movie and it's never better. And then what they do is then 30 years later, 20 years later, 40 years later, whatever the number might be, they go, hey, I bet this generation has forgotten that old movie. Let's make it again. But we're going to do it exactly the same as it was before. Only now we're going to DEI it and we're going to make it worse. It's going to be worse. Because we're going to have to change up all the characters, and we can't have that. We can't have the jock call the nerd a nerd, because that will offend nerds. So we're not going to have a jock in it. We're going to have a guy that is a computer science major, and he's also from Asia, and he's also the captain of the football team, and he's also the prettiest guy in school. Not just handsome, also pretty. But he has a fatal character flaw, and only the other character can fix him. And you're like, this is disgusting. What you're doing to me right now is disgusting. And it's why reboots and remakes almost invariably flop. Oh, I got to scroll way back up. I'm buying a Flash Hobby 60 kg, going to run a Fusion. Do I need a BEC? No. Direct power wires directly to the thing. Not soldering to the motor. No, you solder to the battery plug. You attach your JST there. Motor plug is a whole different thing. Man Called Ove. I've seen that. Me and my kids sat down and watched that. That's a great movie. Also, what's the one about the 100-year-old man? It has a big, long title about a 100-year-old man. That movie's amazing. Caramel ice cream. Oh, he's fronting again. What's your favorite war movie? Ooh. What is my favorite? Okay, I'm just sitting down and trying to think. What is the war movie I have watched the most times? It's probably Full Metal Jacket, which I recognize is an anti-war movie, but I think if done properly, most war movies are anti-war movies. I would put Saving Private Ryan up there. That's definitely up there. I've watched a lot of war movies. I would say my favorite depiction of war in a cinematic form is Band of Brothers. I will rewatch Band of Brothers once a year, at least. It's so good. And then when you stop and think, this is real. This all happened. These are guys. We didn't even need to write some Hollywood story. Easy Company was real guys. And they did this. And the fact that those dudes lived is like how? Like, how did this happen? And one of my favorites was a criticism of Band of Brothers that it wasn't diverse enough. And I'm sitting there going, these are guys, real guys that fought in World War II. Like Hunger Games is a terrible version of Battle Royale. Yeah, it is. I heard a rumor of a lithium mine being developed by the Salton Sea. Oh. Also, lithium will supposedly be replaced in the near future with new mediums. Well, let's see. We'll see. Apocalypse Now is a fantastic movie, and I like the Redux. I don't care what anybody says. Is it overly long? Maybe. Does it include some scenes that should have been in the original theatrical version? Yes. Did they break a bunch of laws making that movie? Also, yes. Is everybody just devouring scenery through that movie with the exception of Martin Sheen? Yes. I wrote a whole paper for a high level, like a 400 or a 500 level class, which was Heart of Darkness and Apocalypse Now. And which one is actually more of a condemnation of colonization? But I wrote it too long ago, so I can't remember what my conclusion was. I got an A on it, so, you know. Dunkirk was a good movie. Das Boot is a great movie. Oliver, if you've got the time, the full version of Das Boot is what, 4 hours, 10 minutes, something like that? Movies like Das Boot, I would put The Descent in a similar category of they're trying to evoke a feel out of you. The feeling of, like, if you have any hint of claustrophobia in your life, maybe don't watch Das Boot. Because they do a real good job of putting you in a U-boat. And it is cramped, and you get scared, and you're like, why is a movie scaring me? And not scaring you like a dude with a hockey mask and a machete is chasing you. Scared like death is imminent, and you're going to die in this metal tube. So yeah, Das Boot's a great movie, but I have not watched Das Boot as many times as I've watched other movies because, well, A, it's in German, and B, it's 4 hours long. That's a lot of reading. Band of Brothers was way better than The Pacific. I think it was. I think the action in We Were Soldiers was better than Saving Private Ryan. What a lot of people forget is that in terms of action sequences, Saving Private Ryan had the beach landing. That was pretty much it. That movie slows down a lot after that point. It really slows down. And if you watch it enough times, it's just each member of the team getting picked off one by one until we get to the end. And then the whole the coward character and his redemption at the end. I can understand how some people are like, I don't want to watch this 10 times. I'm 100% with you on that one. Not taking away. I think Saving Private Ryan's a great movie, and I think Tom Hanks absolutely nails it as the soldier not born to be a soldier, that thing. He played that part a very consistently played role. I'm overly critical of movies. I've watched too many movies. Did you get my email reply about the French? Yes, I did. Band Brothers is good. Way better than yes. How about Hamburger Hill? Most of the Vietnam movies are like what I would call meat grinder movies, which is why my favorite Vietnam movie, if that's a weird thing to say, which it might be, is Full Metal Jacket. Because it didn't get anywhere near Vietnam. It was filmed in England. They brought in palm trees to make it look like Vietnam, but it was done in distinct parts, and it is an anti-war movie. And as much as I love tanks and planes and bombs and guns and all of those things, I don't think anybody likes war, right? War is just people dying. Can't we all just talk it out, man? No, we're humans. We totally can't talk it out. We're absolutely not going to talk it out. Hamburger Hill and Platoon. I think between those two movies, Platoon is a superior movie. And I'm not a huge... That is Oliver Stone, right? Yeah, that is Oliver Stone. I'm not a huge Oliver Stone guy. He is stylistic to the point of... The word that comes to the tip of my tongue the fastest is nausea. Like, Quentin Tarantino is stylistic. I can understand him being a polarized figure as a director. You either love or hate Quentin Tarantino. But his style is so over the top that when you see a Quentin Tarantino movie, you know it's a Quentin Tarantino movie. It's the same way for Oliver Stone, but most of his over-the-top movies are over the top to the point where you go, okay, enough already. Like, I can't sit down annually and watch Natural Born Killers. It's too much. It's too much. And I say that after saying that I can handle Quentin Tarantino and he'll cut somebody's head off and blood will fountain 6 feet into the air. You know? Just watch the fight. What is it? The blonde versus, what are they, the 88, the 96? When she mysteriously doesn't get killed by all these guys that are supposed to be like ninjas and there's just limbs flying everywhere. It's schlock. It's like, nobody's like, oh my God, all those arms. It's like a cartoon. It's a Bugs Bunny cartoon, but it's in real life. I feel like Quentin Tarantino just fully embraced his 12-year-old self, and we got a lot of good movies out of it. And Assumption had to write an essay on Heart of Darkness as well. English majors for the win. Yeah! Does Predator count as a war movie?
Rambo. It was war.
Rambo is an anti-war movie. I don't think Predator is an anti-war movie. There's soldiers in it, but they're fighting an alien. And they didn't go down there to fight an alien. They just happened to fight an alien. And apparently, okay, there's Prey and Prey 2. I haven't watched either one of them. And I need to watch those because I feel like I'm doing a disservice to my own history of watching movies. Oh, yeah. Sean PRC, Band of Brothers is absolutely amazing. I don't know if you've watched it, but it's worth a watch. And watch all the extra footage where they show all the real people they talk to. Yeah, that part at the end is some of the best stuff. I would put right behind, I would classify it, it's not a movie, but I would put Generation Kill. I don't know if Generation Kill would cause more people to join the United States Marine Corps or cause less people to join the United States Marine Corps, but I've watched it in its entirety probably about 5 times. Marine Force Recon, Invasion of Iraq. It's amazing because it shows you the impact of bureaucracy, how wars are fought politically and how it doesn't work. And guess what soldiers have to do? The same stuff they've always had to do. For them, it's the opening words of Fallout, war never changes. It's true. They have different equipment and different stuff, but they still have to fight through bureaucracy as much or more than they have to fight through enemies.
They have no problems with.
Run Silent, Run Deep is great. A great naval movie was Battleship with Rihanna.
I always like The Hunt for Red October.
A buddy of mine I like to I remind him annually about the movie Battleship, and he still to this day, having seen it, he feels like it's a fever dream. He feels like it can't even be possible that it actually existed. And it's really true. It is so wild. It's a movie that I recommend. If it's free on a service and you've got 2 hours to kill, sit down and watch Battleship and try to fight off the feeling that somebody slipped you mushrooms. Because you will feel like you were on a trip. Enemy at the Gates was excellent. That's Jude Law as the sniper, if memory serves. They did homework. I love those series where it's like, is it Wired that does it? Where they have like an actual person react to scenes from movies that are in their field, and they get that Marine sniper to watch sniper scenes in movies, and he remarks about how Enemy at the Gates has some of the best sniper counter sniper scenes ever. It's all about who your tech guy is. That's why Generation Kill, to those who haven't seen it, that's why Generation Kill is so good. Oh, I'm way behind on the chat. Why it's so good. Fruity Rudy in Generation Kill is played by the actual guy who participated in the actual invasion of Iraq. Black Hawk Down in 13 Hours were also extremely well done, yes. Oh, Fury. Fury is a great movie. Yeah, Kill Bill. Body parts flying around, yeah, arms everywhere. The recent remake of All Quiet on the Western Front was brilliant. All Quiet on the Western Front, the remake, which I just watched recently for the second time, yes, definitely an anti-war movie. But it gives you the perspective that we don't ordinarily get. We got to see the German perspective on that, and it is a very different perspective than what we have generally been provided when talking about World War I. Yeah, World War II film. We're here to kill the enemy. Vietnam film. Why are we here again? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, Fury. Fury, okay, if we were talking about a tank movie, I will put Fury at number 2. Number 1 is... Oh, my brain.
Did you get into like Tank Girl for a lot?
My brain. Okay, y'all are going to know it. Donald Sutherland, Telly Savalas, Kelly's Heroes. Kelly's Heroes is my favorite tank movie of all time because Donald Sutherland's character of Oddball is one of my favorite characters ever to appear in a movie. So good. If you've never seen Kelly's Heroes, I'm 99% sure it's either on Amazon or Netflix. I gotta watch Kelly's Heroes again. But I've been trying to burn through this series of, this season of, The Boys. It was just taking up space. It's got a fusion in it now, but I didn't plug it into your receiver because I don't know if you're gonna bother with that.
Yeah, we gotta set it.
Yeah.
This still works.
I'm gonna drink some water. Water. District 9 was a good alien movie, undoubtedly. You got to watch them all, though. You got to watch the unofficial South Africa. You got to watch the Neil Blomkamp trilogy, District 9, Chappie, and Elysium. All good in their own rights. And but if I was gonna pick a favorite, it's District 9. It's Neil. It's think of a cinematic universe. The robots are the robots in, like the robot cops in District 9 are the robot cops in Chappie. It's the same guy. It's Neil Blomkamp. It's like in my brain is too full of names. Hot Fuzz, Edgar Wright, the Cornetto trilogy. Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The End of the World. They are not related in any other way other than using some of the same actors, They are tied together by characters eating cornetto ice creams, British drumsticks. But they are all in a universe. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh man, Camo Crawler just mentions Donald Sutherland just passed away recently. I feel like every morning when I wake up, there's another CNN breaking news of somebody who's died. Bob Newhart was yesterday. I grew up watching Newhart. Hi, I'm Daryl. This is my brother Daryl. Oh, and this is my other brother Daryl. Daryl. Everybody dying, man. Everybody dying. Richard Simmons, a couple days ago.
Wow.
Everybody dying. At World's End. That's what it was. Oh. So Ben Webby just wants this to...
Stay in frame.
Okay, hold on. All right, Benjamin, hold on. Hold on tight. You know what I'm amazed by?
Loss.
How well the cooler has been doing on low all day.
It is. It doesn't feel bad in here. Compared out there,
It's
nice.
It's absolute murder outside right now. Okay. We'll get Ben set up here. I have to think of a better method for affixing this wooden disc to this plastic disc, because what I have done now is I've made a silver Sharpie spot in the center of it, and I line it up, and it's not efficient. I turned it in such a way that I can't plug it in. There we go. And now I've probably nudged this thing off center again. Yep. Does anybody else have this problem? I tried to buy a 300-pound capacity turntable for a singular reason, and that was because it had a turntable this big. I didn't want to have to put a wood disc on it to incorporate a turntable, but as I would and have said in the past, here we are. I wasn't prepared to turntable, but rather than it sit there, I mean, I've heard rumor of someone mentioning that they were watching another podcast, and they were like, if somebody's not answering a question, they just sit there and stare at the camera. And I don't want to be the guy that just sits there and stares at the camera.
You don't look at the camera. Not in the frame.
Okay, there we go. That's a nice. There we go.
Someone's just watching a dead
Bob Newhart was the dad from Elf. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. He was 94. So, it wasn't like they snuck up and got him. But still. Nevertheless. Yeah, so I will have a video on this up shortly-ish. I don't remember. Someone would have to remind me what was the configuration of this last time it was in a video. My recollection has dwindled to next to nothing. I have to sit and think, like, what was the most recent video I uploaded? And I'm like, I don't know. Oh, it's IFS 1, IFS 2. Yeah. Yeah, I was just talking over here with a gentleman about I have a couple categories of movies. And one of the categories is movies you only watched once because you only need to watch them once. And then there's the category of movies that I classify as movies you only watch once because why did they make this movie? Gone Baby Gone? Casey Affleck? One time. One time is more than enough. Oh, Newhart on The Big Bang Theory was great. He had, I don't know, there it is. Mike Cross got ahead of me. He was pretty much the only American that pulled off the dry, deadpan sense of humor. He could do the most deadpan. He could get more laughs from a straight face than maybe anyone in history. He was so good and for so long. But yeah, there's a whole selection of movies that I will watch once and be like, yeah, I don't need to do that again. So if anyone is curious, we might as well throw spoilers out, as I haven't actually recorded the episode yet. Which Ben-Hur, the new one? Those are 0.8 pound springs in the front and 0.4 in the back, but without a battery and a body. We'll sit right about there. Demolition Man 10 times. I've watched Demolition Man at least 10 times. He doesn't know what the 3 seashells are for? What do you mean? All restaurants are Taco Bell now. That was youthful Sandra Bullock. If a movie has got youthful Sandra Bullock in it, I'll watch it.
Except for the net.
Oh, wow. I mean, come on.
There's
Oh, yeah. Oh, there we go. There we go. I'm hoping. Okay, so Rudy has said a one-time movie, Mac and Me. No disagreement. 3SB Schindler's List, just once. Yeah, 100%. You watch Schindler's List once, you start to think that Ralph Fiennes is actually evil. Like, he was so good at being that guy, that bad guy. I will put right up in the column of Schindler's List, is it The Boy in the Striped Pajamas? Yeah, one time. Oh, while we're at it, Life is Beautiful. The most misleading title ever. I mean, seriously. Oh, DHF Hades, you owe it to yourself to watch Demolition Man. Oh, I love this. Somebody who hasn't seen a movie that came out, 30 years ago? You will hear them say things in the movie that you will be like, I've heard that quote before. So quotable. So good. Dan Cortez playing on a piano in a Taco Bell, singing the Jolly Green Giant song, In the Valley of the Giant. It is such a lampoon of popular culture, really. Demolition Man, if anything, underrated. And Wesley Snipes just devouring all the scenery. Just Simon Phoenix chewing up the scenery. Is it high art? No. Is it thoroughly enjoyable? If you were to ask me right now, I will ask you. You can post it out there, and I'll put it in the ether with my mouth parts. I may have mentioned it before, but anyone here, what is the movie you think you have seen the most times? If it's a movie you're going to watch just once, put it in there. I have another one for you. A Japanese anime called Grave of the Fireflies. I recommend you don't watch it at all. But once, you could watch it once. Okay. DHF Hades has seen Rocky Horror 700 times. That's a lot.
That was a thing, though.
Yeah.
That was a thing.
That was a thing.
I don't believe I've ever seen it.
I've seen it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People got into that.
People got really into Rocky Horror Picture Show. Like, a lot of people love Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
I've seen it 1.5 times. I don't know. And I'm not anti-musical. I'll watch a musical. I like an old musical, Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, Oklahoma. I'll watch a musical. Grease. Camo Crawler's favorite movie of all time is The Matrix. The Matrix falls into a definite different category for me. Raising Arizona is a fantastic movie. Oh, I'm on here. Leon the Professional, the film he's watched the most. Neil Daniels has watched Kung Fu Hustle 50 times. I've probably watched Kung Fu Hustle 12 times. But I feel like my intake of Big Mike's RC, African Queen, Humphrey Bogart. Wow, that's kind of a deep cut.
Yeah.
That's a deep cut.
That's reaching back.
Matrix and Avengers for An Assumption. Now, I've watched Matrix a lot of times. A lot. Have I watched the lobby scene more times individually than I've watched the entirety of The Matrix? Yes, absolutely. I have a 9.1 surround system in my living room, and I will put the lobby scene and just watch the lobby scene and then go about the rest of my day. Ooh, Ed Scrivener, Pitch Black. That is a deep cut. Yeah. Not a lot of people are going to know Vin Diesel with his, you get it, what is it? You live in the dark because he had a guy do his eyes up so he can see in the dark, and he was doing his Bane voice. That's a great movie. Claudia Black's in that movie. That's a great movie.
I know you watched The Fifth Element quite a bit.
Driver 8 just mentioned The Fifth Element. I saw The Fifth Element 11 times in the theater while I was on the clock working for the California State University system, because they had just opened Ontario Mills Mall, and I would go down to the AMC 30 with my coworker, and we would watch Fifth Element again. I have a regret, and then it's when it hit its 25th anniversary, I didn't go back and see it when it got re-released in the theater again.
Shit, it's 9 o'clock. We gotta go.
I should have gone and watched it again. But yeah, I've probably seen Fifth Element 50 or 60 times. I think the movie that I have seen the most times. Oh, Mike Cross, Bad Taste. Mike Cross, not a lot of people are going to know Bad Taste. I think the same number of people that know Bad Taste will be the people that know Dead Alive. Dead Alive, a fantastic Peter. His first name is Peter. He made a bunch of Lord of the Rings movies, and before he did that movie, he made a Dead Alive. A person gets killed with a lawnmower. It's great. It's so good. There's zombie sheep in it. Dead Alive is amazing. Yeah, so I've seen at least 50 times for Fifth Element, but I think the movie I've seen the most overall, the most times, simply by being alive, is A Christmas Story. Because Christmas morning, you put on Christmas Story on a loop, and it plays for 6 or 7 hours straight.
TBS used to run it on a loop.
TBS used to do it for 24 straight hours. Just back in the cable days, you would watch A Christmas Story for an entire day. Oh, it's called Brain Dead here. That's right. Brain Dead is Dead Alive here. He had his eyes shined. That's the words. Yeah. And the most quotable, Army of Darkness. Oh, let me see if I can reach over the... Wait, what's camera 2 looking at? Because I got to walk right in front of the camera. Oh, there we go. Hold on. There you go. Look at that. Ben Webby's going to lose his mind. He's getting the close-up view. So we don't know the vehicle for the fitment, but got Ultimate Ash. Look at that. He's got the chainsaw. He's got a couple different hands. There's what got him into all the trouble in the first place. I discovered Evil Dead 2 first, and then went back to the first Evil Dead. But yeah, I have seen Army of Darkness an inexcusable number of times, and the same for Evil Dead 2. I am a sucker for push-pull focus, where they're zooming in on the guy but pulling focus at the same time, so it looks like the person is flying at the camera. Bruce Campbell, forever. Yeah, I kick ass for the Lord. We can, we're all dating ourselves again. Seavart Customs, a toss-up between Breakfast Club, Dawn of the Dead, and Fright Night. Oh, man, I haven't watched Fright Night in a minute. In a long, hot minute. I got to sit down. I got to watch Fright Night again. I got to watch Kelly's Heroes again. Because this is the beauty. They never mention this either about getting old. But as you get old, you start to forget all of the things that you've done, said, places you've been. It all just erases. I used to be able to remember the plot, characters, the timeline, everything of every book I'd ever read, of every movie I'd ever seen. And then it ruined everything. Because once I'd watched a movie, I can't watch it again. Now, I got 2/3 of a way through a movie before I realized I'd watched it before. I was like, wait a minute. Are they sending him to space prison? I feel like I've seen this movie before. But that movie, in that particular instance, it was because it was so unimpressive that I had just forgotten that I had watched it. And then also, if you watch enough movies, they all kind of blur together because plot similarities become staggering, borderline overwhelming. Blazing Saddles, any movie, really realistically, any Mel Brooks movie can be watched 100 times. Easily. Blazing Saddles, Spaceballs, Young Frankenstein. Oh, I could watch Young Frankenstein once a week. I don't, but I mean, I could. There's a lot of content out there. There's a lot of content. I have videos to make. The original Italian Job. I don't have a problem with the new Italian Job. Yes, it does have to be the original Fright Night. If there's a remake, I haven't seen it.
There's an original from like back in the day.
Oh.
I will agree with Oliver that Evil Dead, the 2013 Evil Dead and Evil Dead Rise are good in terms in the terms of reboots, under the guise of reboots. They are pretty good, but over both of the reboots of the Evil Deads, I will take Drag Me to Hell every time. Every time. I will go back and I would rather watch the Bruce Campbell original Evil Dead and Army of Darkness, and then if I want to watch something more contemporary, I'll watch Drag Me to Hell. If you've never seen Drag Me to Hell, you got to watch Drag Me to Hell. If you've also never seen, what is the title? Is it Happy Death Day? Mm-hmm. Where she's in a horror movie that's Groundhog Day at the same time? It's absolutely amazing. It's so good. It is carried 100% by the female lead. And then they made Happy Death Day to You, which is the most sequel ever made. Okay? They made Happy Death Day to You, which literally picks up. Like, imagine if the movie scene is going and somebody turned their head and then they turned back. That's where Happy Death Day to You starts. And they give you zero, and I mean zero backstory. If you didn't watch the first one, you will have no idea what's happening in the second one. They treated it as if it were two movies that got cut apart, but they made them like 4 years apart or something. It's wild. Most sequels spend the first 20 minutes explaining the first one. Payback is a great movie with Mel Gibson, but I think I'll take The Good Guys, because the dynamic between Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe is amazing. The Good Guys is a fantastic movie. You guys got to watch out, man. I could talk about movies until the sun goes down and comes back up again. I was a latchkey kid, like many of us were. I have watched a lot of movies. So many. Like 5,000 would be a low estimate. And I don't have... I ain't stopping from watching nothing. I'll watch anything. The One with Jet Li. Oh, man. That wasn't just the one with Jet Li. That was the one with peak Jet Li. That was Jet Li in his prime. So fast they had to undercrank the camera so he wasn't just a blur. Make a movie channel where I just talk about movies. Speaking of Deadpool, Camo Crawler, has it occurred to anyone other than me that Deadpool 3 comes out in what, a week? I think it comes out next Friday. Anybody feeling too young? HBO TO3 already went to bed, right? Deadpool 1 came out 8 years ago. 8! Deadpool 2016. And that's nothing. The Matrix, everybody, came out 25 years ago. Same with SpongeBob. SpongeBob SquarePants just had his 25th anniversary. Yes, I also agree. I'm on here just said Blade Runner 2049 is a good sequel. I think Blade Runner 2049 is a fantastic sequel because it stayed very true to the original. And I think that's why a lot of critics didn't get it. They're not used to seeing the first movie come out in 1982 and the second movie come out 40 years later, right? So it stayed so true to the noir character of the first one. Blade Runner, the 1982 Blade Runner, is one of my favorite science fiction movies of all time. What they did making that future Los Angeles was because why The Fifth Element? Here we go. The rabbit hole is getting wider. Furniture is falling into the rabbit hole. Why The Fifth Element is one of my favorite movies of all time, much less science fiction movies, is because for me, it is about world building. You build a world that might not be like, if you want to represent the real world, you can Tarantino it and kill Hitler with a flamethrower, or you can be true to reality, or you can create your own world that is its own thing. And Luc Besson in The Fifth Element did that. He built a world, a kooky, crazy future world where you're like, yeah, I actually kind of buy this. The trash collection had gone on strike, so they were just piling up all the trash in the airport. And you were like, okay, I absolutely buy this. Also, hiring Jean-Paul Gaultier to do all of the costuming for an entire movie is bonkers. And it could not have worked better. Because if you want everybody to look like they live in the future, hire a crazy Frenchman to design all the costumes. I think he's French. Jean-Paul Gaultier, that's a French name, right? I mean, he could be Belgian or something. I don't know. I'm going to assume he's French. 12 Monkeys is a great movie. Any Terry Gilliam movie is a great movie. Brazil is a great movie, and it's insane. And again, world building. Brazil, the world building. What did I miss? 28 rumors about 28 years later. Has it been long enough? Has it been long enough to do 28 years later? Oh, Crawler Kitty, Crawler Kitty, Crawler City. What is the frequency with which the ads are coming? Because I don't know if it's just random distraction or mostly I'm just trying to keep up with chat. Here's the deal. The yellow window is over there to say when there's an ad coming, and chat is over here. They're on completely different screens. There's not enough room to fit them on one screen. No Country for Old Men is a brilliant movie. That's Coen Brothers. Yeah. Coen Brothers. Yeah. So the same guys that directed Raising Arizona. Yeah. I want to say they were both Coen Brothers movies. Perfect. Thematically identical, right? Speaking of, the Sin City world. But I mean that's borrowed world building, but I'll allow it. Because it was just straight out of a book, as they call it, graphic novel. Ong Bak is a fantastic movie, as is Ong Bak 2, as is The Raid, as is The Raid 2. If anybody is going to come at me with Silat or any side of kung fu that ain't kung fu, I'm here for that movie. And Tony Jaa and the other guy whose name I can't remember. I can't remember them all. So Tony Jaa was Ong Bak, and then we got the guy that was in The Raid and The Raid Redemption. What's his name? What's that guy's name? I might yell it out. I might Numi Rapace it. I don't know. Dread with Carl Urban is a fantastic movie. So good. They should have made it Dread 2, and it's a shame that movie didn't make more money because it was proper good. Not good for being a reboot of a movie made out of an off-brand comic book, but just good. And Carl Urban, maybe my favorite Carl Urban, even above Billy Butcher. Did Bonita Creek just say Kung Fu Panda? 28 days later was 2022. So to get 28 years later, they'd have to make it in 2030. Tony Jaa was just done a disservice, as is Scott Adkins. Came out at the wrong time when movies switched action genre. Scott Adkins doesn't get enough love. Michael Jai White doesn't get enough love. What's his name? I can see his Frank Grillo does not get enough love. Frank Grillo's take, what is it called? Boss mode, boss fight, boss something. It's boss something, where it's just Groundhog Day of Frank Grillo getting killed. He's so good, and he's been so consistently so good. Those guys, I mean, it's almost like struggling in obscurity. It really is. Those stunt guys that turned into actors. Scott Adkins, I just watched one with him where he gets out of prison and he's having revenge on the people that sent her to prison. The title is meaningless. There's just immaculately choreographed fight scenes. That was, and he's on a future planet, and there's a bunch of clones of him. Oblivion.
Oh, Oblivion. No, when he kept dying and coming back.
Oh, Edge of Tomorrow. Oh, Edge of Tomorrow, so good.
That was the best.
Emily Blunt, so good.
Yeah.
They're supposedly they're making Edge of Tomorrow 2 right now. They're making Edge of Tomorrow 2. Because Tom Cruise ain't going to quit until his body makes him quit.
Right. He's been saving the world.
So he's just going to keep going. Undisputed with Scott Adkins. Yeah. Oh, time does fly. Are we 3 hours? It's 3:05? Ladies, gentlemen, giraffes, and wildebeests, I haven't eaten since breakfast because the peanut gallery over here showed up with lunch after I was already recording. Speaking of the new Crow, which has Bill Skarsgård in it. Oh, I caught one. Ads will run shortly. We're not going to end on an ad, everybody. We're not going to end on an ad. I love Carl Urban, but I can't do Billy Butcher. I bleeping hate that character to the point where I can't watch The Boys, and I should because it's a Kiwi lead cast. After season 2, they were doing an interview, and they said that he's supposed to be doing a Cockney accent, and I was like, really? I was like, never once would I have mistaken that for a Cockney accent. I thought he was just doing an accent for the show, right? Like, I don't know how Mike Cross can't watch The Boys because you've got Anthony. He's one of your down under folks that I didn't. I saw a picture of him when he was in Xena. Look at the angle on that front drive shaft. Which one are we talking about? Are we talking about the drive shaft that goes up or the drive shaft that goes down? This is the Pro.
Oh, that's the Pro?
Yeah. It sits a little lower with the added couple grams of weight. Sicario. Oh, that's it. Anthony Starr. That's it. Sicario is fantastic. Sicario 2, not as fantastic. Sort of enjoyable. But all of the leads, every lead in Sicario is killing it. I'm hoping that people that don't watch too many movies we'll give a couple ideas and they can watch.
Good movies.
Wouldn't the sequel just be Tomorrow? For a bit of fun, I really like Nobody. Nobody is fantastic because it's John Wick, but played by Bob Odenkirk, and without all the over-the-topness. Like, it's so good. It's one of the movies my wife sleeps to, so I have seen Nobody a lot. Like, a dozen times. Oh, you gotta watch Nobody with Bob Odenkirk. It's so good. His adoptive brother is it the RZA from Wu-Tang Clan? And his dad is Christopher Lloyd. It's wild. The whole entire casting is wild. Yeah. Time Bandits. Was Time Bandits Terry Gilliam? It could have been. That's a great movie, too. If you want a deep dive on Kiwi culture and Anthony Starr, check out the series Outrageous Fortune. The thing is, over here in America, somebody recommended to me, they said, when I was at Anime Expo, they said, if you like Cowboy Bebop, there's Mr. Spiegel right over there, you'll like a series called The Big O, which came out in 99. Guess where I can watch The Big O here as a resident of the United States? I can't. It is not on anything streaming.
Oh, you
Period.
Can't pirate it like you do everywhere
Can't
else?
even pirate it. Can't find it anywhere. So somewhere I'm going to have to try to find a way to find Big O. Oh, they are making a Nobody too. Bonita Creek has watched Nacho Libre 70 times. Get that corn out of my face, man. So good. That's the beauty. This is really the beauty of movies. Oh, Die Hard. I've probably watched Die Hard 50 times.
It's a Christmas movie.
But it is. Die Hard is one of the best Christmas movies. Yes, Time Bandits was Terry Gilliam. It definitely. I think Nobody was written by the same writers as John Wick. That makes sense. I'm not saying that I would ever participate in torrenting or any other illegal activities. But I'm going to say that the sites that I've gone to that are similar to a word that rhymes with torrents had nothing. No, I think the words that they use, now I don't know, but from what I understand, the words they use are seeds and leechers. I couldn't find any of those. So I don't know. I'm not saying that I've looked, because I would not participate, but I couldn't find any of them. Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is a pretty good movie. It's pretty okay. It's strongly okay. It's got Alan Ritchson in it and will allow a lot. The lead cast is quite good. But if you liked the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, you need to sit down right now, fire up whatever device you fire up to find these things, and watch a series called SAS Rogue Squadron, which is more biographical about the creation of the SAS during World War II. Because, no offense to Richson or any of the cast in Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, but it was a little too Guy Ritchie. And the other one, the acting it's real good. Real good. I don't know. I never even considered looking on Crunchyroll. Don't you have to pay for that? Who has watched Duel? With the guy, with Dennis Weaver trying to outrun the truck that's trying to kill him? Come on! You're going to... Okay. If you want to get to a movie that I don't know at all or haven't seen, your cuts are going to have to be deep. Real deep. I had no parental supervision, but I had access to varieties of cinema. As I told you, I have childhood traumas still continued over from my father dropping me off at a twin cinema at the age of 9. I might have been 8. I was 8 or 9. And the double feature was Outland, featuring Sean Connery, which is about murders on a Martian mining colony. And then the second film of that double feature was Wolfen, about a guy turning into a werewolf. So, I was either 8 or 9 at the time. So these are my recollections of movies. I also recall in that particular theater, the last movie I ever saw in that theater was a double feature, once again, Over the Top, the arm wrestling movie with Sylvester Stallone, and the movie about monster trucks. They did a dramatic movie with a wrestling type overarching theme, but it was about monster trucks. I'm going to have to Google it to find out what it was about. It came, no. Like people driving monster trucks, but like, wrestling has heroes and villains. Yeah, like that. I've been told there's a sign that rhymes with my right. Krull. Oh, Krull is a fairly deep cut. Strange Days is a pretty great movie, full rotoscope on that. Not rotoscope. Cell shade. They cell shaded. They rotoscoped and cell shaded the whole thing, so it looked like you were in an acid trip. Oh, Oliver Kundrat got to see Silence of the Lambs at the age of 7.
Oh yeah.
Oliver, Welcome to childhood traumas. We have shared childhood traumas. Now, when you say The Mechanic, do you mean the recent remake with Jason Statham, or do you mean the original one with Charles Bronson? You got, like, guys, these are not cuts. Red Sonja was the lady version of Arnold Schwarzenegger with Brigitte Nielsen. Ooh, I watched Naked Lunch and a bunch of other messed up movies the first time I ever dropped acid. Okay, those are not childhood traumas. Those are self-induced traumas, and you get to carry those. Have you watched Justin Morgan Has a Horse? Okay, there's a deep cut, because I don't know what that is. Did somebody just make that up to confuse me?
It's an AI movie title.
Wait, is it new? It doesn't sound new. 1972. Oh, it's Disney. A colonial school teacher acquires a colt that becomes the foundation sire of the versatile Morgan horse breed. Okay, now I understand why I haven't seen this. No, it's live action. But a 1972 Disney movie about a horse. Hey, but 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, that'll get me to watch something. Watching all Hellraisers back to back. Okay. In my humble opinion, all of those movies, right? The ones that got really sequenced out, Hellraiser, it just started to be the same thing over and over again. All the Nightmare on Elm Streets, all of the Friday the 13th, it was very, very, very slight variations on a theme. And I think the first Hellraiser was the kind of the best one, because you only get to meet Pinhead once for the first time. And then you're like, oh, it's Pinhead again. Like it kind of wears off. I will still say horror movies are one of the hardest things to make. Because scaring people, what we're scared of is what we don't know and what we can't see. How about the movie? Oh, yeah, The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then Bigfoot? Yes. When it came up, I was like, well, I have to watch that. But doing horror is really difficult. Like a sci-fi movie can be kind of bad and it will still be good. And a comedy, there might be something to make you laugh. But consistently, some of my least favorite movies that have ever been have been horror movies that were done badly. The remake of Dark Water is horrible. Apartment 1303 is the worst movie of all time. But, in my opinion, the movie that made things that was scary the best is you have to go back to when it was released. When the Blair Witch Project came out, they did it so right. We went to the theater and we saw it. It was only playing at one showing. It was playing one showing at one theater. We had to go out to Ontario Mills, and the movie started at like 9:20 at night. And the movie started, and the screen went, the lights, the house lights went down, and the curtain lifted up, and the movie started. There were no trailers. There was no, let's all go to the lobby. There was no nothing. It just went into the movie. And then it went into the movie, and it felt so much like found footage that you forgot almost immediately that this was a movie that people made, right? And you got to the end of it, and I mean, I could give spoilers out. The movie came out, over 30 years ago, right? But when you get to the end of it, the spoiler I'll give you is you don't really ever get to see anything. And to go directly into the French, it scares the shit out of you. Like when we walked to the car after the movie was over, you hold your partner's hand just a little bit tighter because you were like, what just happened? And then the movie ends, there's no credits, the screen goes black, and the house lights come up. And the thing is, we live in the area of social media now. You can't make that movie anymore. You can't do that anymore. You can only see it once. I have watched Blair Witch Project again. I'm not gonna. The phrase that would be incorrect is that it isn't that it doesn't hold up. It's just that they can only do it to you once. Now, yeah, anyone that goes camping gets the fear in Blair Witch. I think the cruelest thing you could do is get a bunch of city folk together and tell them you're going to go out and camp by the lake, and then set up the projector and make them watch Blair Witch. Nobody's sleeping, baby. Everybody's awake until the camping trip is over. Because I am so unaffected by pretty much every scary movie. I will say, it's the same dude. He did The Haunting of Hill House, and he did Fall of House of Usher. He does them as series on Netflix. Haunting of Hill House made me physically jump like 3 or 4 times. That guy knows how to do a good scare. He needs to get you like a joy where you go, ah, in spite of yourself, where you're like, I know it's coming. I know it's coming. I know it's day, right? I think I appreciate a good horror movie more than I appreciate any other. Oh, I've seen Troll Hunter, yeah. More than any other genre, because in a comedy movie, you expect to laugh, right? The surprise they can give you is make you laugh a little bit more. Like you're like, oh, I didn't see that joke coming. Or a nice sight gag, something. But a scary movie, you go in expecting to be scared. And most of the time, they can't deliver. There's something that's not quite right. Because the child inside of us is dwindling, I guess. What ESC is that? That is an AG Innovations Ninja. I had seen Fall of House of Usher with Vincent Price, yeah. How has no one mentioned Running Man or Total Recall? Yes, but Total Recall, the original one.
I want to go see this. I'll never get in the water.
Yeah. Cabin in the Woods, amazing, excellent. Again, okay, look here. I'm gonna make a deal with you. We will get more of this sprinkled in next week. We will talk more about movies and not about RC cars next week, or maybe we'll sprinkle in some RC car talk. Who knows? But I've got brothers and sisters, giraffes and geranimals. I've got to eat something. So I'm going to bid you I would say an early adieu, but we're about 20 minutes over. My wife tells me do not exceed 3 hours, you absolute buffoon, you total candlestick. So I will we will try to. The Midwest Goodbye turned into a longer movie discussion about movies that are great, and has been going for about 30 minutes. Yeah, I'm not even standing anymore. I'm literally leaning on the bench. So from I and the Peanut Gallery as well, we thank you so much for joining us while we accomplish quite literally. Have you ever had so good of a time accomplishing nothing? We are the Seinfeld of the crawler world, where nothing happens, but a little bit of everything happens. And we will lure you back into doing Mike Flanagan. That's it.
Here we go.
Midnight Mass. Yeah, that was the other one. Really good. No, you're doing it again. That means we can never break the record. No, yeah, basically the wife said that if I try to, here's the thing. The cable that comes out here to provide internet is plugged in the kitchen. She could just yoink that out of the wall, stream over. So realistically, she could determine that the stream ends at any time. So it has an assumption correct. It has indeed been glorious. I know that for many of you on here, it is already Saturday. So thanks for hanging out in the canyon for over a day and a half.
Remember?
Yeah, it's like 9 hours ahead.
Yeah, we were here that day. We did 5 hours.
He just he said it's 0022 where he is. What's on the cooling fins? They did a heat shrink thing around it, but they put the heat sink up through so I didn't bother to cut it off. You're doing it again. You're all a bunch of tricksters and rascals. All right. And I'm not falling for it for the 4th time. So I'm gonna eat some. If the wife can, if the wife can yoink the cable, better to not make her angry. Absolutely. All right. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We'll see you on all the days. I'll see you on the Discord. I'll see you back again here next week. Oh, we're ending on 69 concurrent viewers. Ha ha! Too bad we're not ending at 420, bro. All right. It's still today where he is. It's 10 o'clock Saturday morning in mythical New Zealand. And yes, we do make every effort to end the stream mid-sentence. So be good, everybody. Use soap. We'll see you next time. Here from the King.